nature to trash your trash and keep NC clean. And we'll all have more reasons to love North Carolina. Litter less, get more. For more on the 7 outdoor NC Leave No Trace principles, visit OutdoorNC.com. Sponsored by the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters and Visit North Carolina, a part of the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina in cooperation with this station.
When it comes to mixing drugs, you may think you have a safe approach, but the bottom line is, mixing drugs is never safe. It can cause serious health problems like a heart attack or brain damage. Learn more at cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
When the camera goes to him, after the first goal, I mean, there was like a cluster at the bench, right, with the change and stuff. Yeah. And Orloff was kind of like, what do I do? There's 4 guys, right? And you could see after that goal, Roddy, the veins were coming out of his head, and then he chews that gum like it's a piece of titanium. And the Carolina Hurricanes, they'll be happy. Rod Brennan will be happy with Game 1 win. And you looked at Roddy, and they even said, well, I mean, he doesn't look like he's happy, but so he's always on to the next thing, right? He's always prepared and always focused. So, I mean, there's nobody better.
It's the Adam Gold Show. It's Chandler Rose from yesterday.
That was fantastic.
Speaking of nobody better.
Highly recommend you go check out that interview on YouTube if you haven't seen it.
He's amazing. He's always great.
I didn't realize his birthday's 3 days after mine.
Oh my gosh.
So I sent him a message and I said, I knew why you were so awesome.
There you go. He is. He's the best. I love talking to Chad. Got to figure out who tomorrow's victim will be. Former player, maybe. We got a lot of things to do. That was from yesterday. Talking to Chad LaRose, talking about Rod Brindamore, the head coach, and the intensity and all of that. We have another day off tonight. No hockey tonight for us. Although, I have watched all the scoring in Washington, Montreal came in about 5 minutes. And then we were done until Washington scored into an empty net.
Seems to be a trend with that series.
Yeah, it's very crazy. L.A. won again.
I know.
Scored a bunch of goals.
A lot of them.
Again.
Yes.
They didn't give up a bunch of goals this time.
Speaking of a trend, the Stars ended up winning again in overtime.
In overtime. Real quick about that, because I watched the beginning of that game. And Gabriel Landeskog, their captain, who last played when the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup 3 years ago. Florida won last year. Vegas won the year before. Colorado beat Tampa the year before that, 22. That was the last time Landeskog played in an NHL game.
Yeah.
And he was in the starting lineup last night, and they saved him, the third forward, who started with McKinnon and Natchez on the top line, at least at the start of the game. They saved him for last. The anthem was delayed. Place went bananas.
It did.
Oh, great. Unfortunately, it did not translate into a Colorado win.
I know.
They scored the first goal.
They did.
But they did not win the game as Dallas won it in overtime. Mikko Rantanen with an assist on the overtime winner. I thought Mikko, as long as I could stay awake, I did not see the end of the game, but as long as I could stay awake, Mikko played very well. That's good. I mean, you're talking about two of the best teams in the league. So maybe two of the best 4 teams in the entire NHL. Maybe two of the best 3, to be perfectly honest. And they're meeting in the first round. It seems somewhat criminal. Also, we're going to get to this pretty quickly. The game of chicken that the NCAA and the Power 4 leagues, or Power 5 leagues, however you want to put it, are playing with Judge Claudia Wilkin. Guess who got hit by the car?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't see that coming from a mile away. Anyway, the judge rejected the proposal, the House proposal, and we are going to talk about that in just a few minutes. One more thing, Mets swept the Phillies 3 games. They rallied with 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th to win it.
Cubs! Beat the Dodgers.
There you go.
I'm wearing my celebratory dress. It's not really celebratory. I just want to
doing the Lord's work.
I know.
All right, let's go. Because it is draft night tonight. Draft night tonight. The NFL draft. Almost everything we do today, we'll sprinkle in some other things, but almost everything we do today will be NFL draft related. As I have said, I told you this yesterday. I have discovered the ESPN mock draft simulator.
Yep.
I am hooked. I have done it I don't know how many times again today.
Right.
I keep doing the same thing. As drafting for the Panthers, I keep taking Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. Don't talk to me about edge rushers. A dynamic, this is no offense to JT Sanders, by the way, right? There's room for 2 great pass-catching tight ends.
Sure.
Bring it. So I've been taking Tyler Warren. I don't believe they will, but I have been. Anyway, so I've mocked a few. I also, when Ashton Genty is available, I trade out.
Oh, okay.
So I traded out with Dallas the third time, and ended up I ended up taking TJ Sanders.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having a JT and a TJ?
Wow.
TJ Sanders, who's the defensive tackle from South Carolina, and I keep taking Porter, the cornerback from Iowa State.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm addicted to it. All right, let's get to some draft things. Mason Graham, who, if he is available, and I don't think he will be available at 8, but if he is available, that's who the Panthers should take. To me, I would rather have another excellent defensive tackle than an edge rusher or anything else on the board. To me, Mason Graham. And here's Adam Schefter on the possibility that Graham might be available.
You know, on Monday I do this column. I've done it the last few years, like draft intel. And I felt like on Monday I said, I don't think Mason Graham is going number 5. Like everybody's pegged him to go for weeks now. Like everybody had Mason Graham going to the Jaguars, right? Mm-hmm. So that would qualify as a surprise that no longer would be a surprise. So now you're asking for the next surprise.
Okay.
The next surprise, I think we need a lot of them in the top 10 because there's no real consensus on these guys, and there seems to be mixed opinions on all of them, and the player from 10 to 32 seems to be similar.
Look, if Mason Graham is there at 8, the Panthers should probably sprint to the podium and do it. Again, a defensive tackle, to me, is the new edge rusher. That's like, everybody was in love with the wide receivers. You got to take the wide receiver. Like, there's a billion wide receivers. I'm not saying there's a billion edge rushers, but there's a lot of edge rushers. Defensive tackles, really disruptive defensive tackles, man. Those aren't, they're not falling off trees. Here's Bucky Brooks from the NFL Network on Graham.
Mason Graham as the top interior. Where do you feel like Mason Graham finds his way in the league?
Well, look, we're going to bring him, let's go to Charlotte. Let's put him down with the Carolina Panthers, because when the Carolina Panthers have been dominant, it's because their front line has been able to dominate at the point of attack. You put Mason Graham alongside Derrick Brown. Now you have 2 guys that are relentless competitors at the point of attack. He is an animal when it comes to nonstop quickness, energy, heavy-handed, relentless in his pursuit of the ball carrying the quarterback. To me, he's a culture changer.
There you go. I don't know if we need a culture changer, but we definitely do need a dynamic playmaker in the middle of the defensive line. I think that would be awesome. All right, now the other story on draft day is going to be what happens with Shador Sanders. There have been so many so many different comments relayed through the media to the general public. I mean, blasting this guy. It makes me feel like, man, this would be a great pick for anybody. Because when everybody in the world is blasting him, and I'm not sure why you would, I just assume that they're all lying. That's the way I would look at it. But here's Peter Schrager from ESPN on the potential that Sanders falls in the draft.
I don't have a team for Shador right now, and you guys are talking about Pittsburgh. I think that would be a great fit for Shador, and I think 21's like the perfect spot if he slips. This could be a long night, and this could go into Friday, and that's not because we did this in the media. This is because there are 32 teams, and one of them has to pick him. And if that's the case at 3, awesome. Giants, awesome. If at 9, Saints, great. 21, awesome. But let's not treat him like other prospects.
Harry Douglas from ESPN. Why are teams afraid to draft Shador Sanders?
Shador Sanders has what America fears the most. A strong black father who has money, who doesn't back down to anyone, and does what he wants to do, and doesn't also play about his kids. So my thing is, why not just grade him and talk about him like you do every other candidate? It's just insane to me that you can have a guy who a lot of people thought was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and then all of a sudden, we're talking about the potential of him not even be drafted in the first round? Like, think about how crazy and insane that is.
I just know this. I've watched him play, and I don't know that any of the quarterbacks, honestly, are good enough to be taken very high in the draft. I'm not even lying. But I don't get the negative comments about Shador Sanders. And the stuff that you get is all about character. I mean, we get he doesn't have the rocket arm. But and I'm not comparing him to Joe Montana. Joe Montana didn't have a rocket arm. Phillip Rivers didn't have a rocket arm. You could be a great quarterback in the league without having, a rifle hanging off your right shoulder. He looks like he's an accurate thrower to me. He certainly understands how to, quote, play the game as a professional athlete because he's been one for a while. And he grew up around it. I don't get it. But who knows where he's going to get drafted. But I all the slander makes me uncomfortable. I don't think Harry Douglas is wrong at all. All right. I saw this yesterday. I was waiting for the, I'm not going to say the other shoe to drop. How about the gavel to drop when Judge Claudia Wilkin in the Northern California District Court said, you know what? I'm not approving the House versus the NCAA settlement because you all didn't do what I asked you to do and modify the roster element of that agreement so you would just grandfather in current athletes so they were not harmed. It wasn't that hard. And the NCAA and the Power 5 conferences said, nope, we ain't doing it. And she said, well, you're going to have to. Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law on Twitter, who is here without his Mets cap on, and we just swept the series from the Phillies. All right, never mind. We've won 7 in a row. We'll talk about that another time. I'm not surprised because when she told them, just do this and I will approve it, and they said the same day, yeah, we're not going to do that. I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing, but as it turned out, she was serious. She didn't approve it. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. And I think you're exactly right. And we previewed both of these positions when I was here a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Both that Judge Wilkin would not be one to be messed with. They weren't going to sneak it by her. But at the same time, that settlement agreements require a lot of cooperation between the parties and a lot of giving ground, and that it may be difficult to get that sort of agreement. But I don't know that that's what necessarily happened here. I think the plaintiffs are in favor of some sort of grandfathering provision. I think that even Grant House has said that he doesn't love the idea of roster limits, and he's the named plaintiff. Yeah. But this is something that I think schools have pushed for at some level for quite some time, and the reason why this has been sort of a sticking point.
Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law on Twitter. He founded and runs the sports and sports law and NIL clinic at the University of Minnesota. You can catch him on the NIL Hour on Conduct Detrimental, the podcast. He also does a Mets podcast. Again, we're going to have to talk about that down the road. Coaches whined a lot about the losing all of the walk-ons, especially in like football. Notoriously has dozens of walk-on players. They help in practice. They fill out the roster. They can have like 120 players on a sideline in a home game. And this was going to go away. The walk-on was going to go away. It was initially going to be replaced. I guess it will be replaced ultimately by more scholarship players, which clearly the bigger schools are all about. We can get another, 15 or 25 players on scholarship because it goes from 85 to I think 110 or maybe even 115 for football. That was cool, but it was going to come at the expense of some walk-ons. And this was a big deal in other sports as well. Why couldn't they come to I don't even know how to, where to ask the question. How couldn't they figured this out? It doesn't seem like that heavy a lift to allow these rosters to gradually step down.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot at stake here. You think about our Olympic prowess, the reason why every 2-4 years we get together and say USA and beat all of the other countries in the medal count. It's because our university systems have prepared those student athletes. That's money that's coming from the universities to prepare those athletes to compete. And I agree with you. It seems like a no-brainer, but at the same time, everything comes down to money and who the most powerful voices in the room are. And look, neither of us are privy to those conversations that are going on, whether they're briefings between the two sides or internally. But I agree with you. It seems like just from a PR perspective that you would want to take this easy win, even if it costs more in the short term. You know that eventually you're going to have some sort of collectively bargained agreement. Right. I think that maybe you want a little bit more public support for your positions and for people to think that you're looking out for the best interest of the sport as a whole.
Public support. That's something the NCAA has no concept of. Tarun Sharma at TK Sharma Law on Twitter.
And can I say one more thing on that? Look, for the last several years, they've been desperate for some sort of federal antitrust carve-out that was going to protect them, akin to what baseball has. Baseball got theirs because they were America's pastime. It was the most popular sport. But not just that, everyone loved baseball. They thought that the people who were running it were looking out for the best interests of baseball. I don't think that people feel that way about the NCAA or the Power Four conferences if they reshape themselves. And I do think that that's important because if those individuals are lobbying their own congressional representatives to say, hey, let's help the NCAA out, let's get some sort of better system. Look, there's so many people who are frustrated with how the system currently operates.
Right.
And still none of those people are like, let's get the NCAA a little bit more power. It's like, yeah, everything is terrible. And also we don't want the NCAA to be the ones that are in charge of fixing it.
Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, so the next step is the two parties have 14 days to, through a mediator, hammer out an agreement. She named the mediator as a professor. And if they can't figure that out, we're headed to trial, pre-trial, and then she's setting a trial date. That doesn't sound like a good idea for the NCAA, no?
No, not at all. And not just meeting with the mediator, but also meeting with the two attorneys that were representing parties who were objecting to the settlement. So at least having those voices in the room to be able to collaborate and hopefully come up with some sort of agreement. But yeah, a trial I think would be a disaster. I think the NCAA knows that as well. Judge Wilkin in particular has not shown a willingness or any sort of sympathy to the NCAA's positions on these matters dating back to O'Bannon. And so I don't think that they want to find themselves in a trial where there could possibly be treble damages. And you've already had this protracted settlement conversation. Not that that could be admitted for any sort of wrongdoing, but there's a lot out there.
Right.
And I just don't think that they're going to find themselves on the winning side there.
So you say the NCAA knows that it might be bad for them. I'm not sure they really do, because they have pushed the judge to this point. So talk to me about numbers here before we have to say goodbye. Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law on Twitter. The settlement is like, what, $2.8 billion, right, over 10 years. What number could we be looking at if they go to trial and the NCAA and power leagues lose?
Yeah, more than that. Maybe 10.
And then that would be times 3, correct?
Yeah, and then you could see that actually bankrupt the entire system, because I don't think that they have that amount of money on hand to be able to pay it. The settlement is their only way forward. And then even beyond that, we've discussed this, but who even knows whether this is a lasting settlement? That $2.8 billion is for back pay. You're now creating a system and a set of rules that is binding student athletes, Judge Wilkins said, who are currently out there playing kickball, 8 and 10-year-olds. I'm not sure that we're getting the sort of stability that we're looking for here, but this is better for the NCAA than what they've had. It gives them a little bit more of a leg to stand on, and it kind of kicks the can down the road in a way that is maybe more stable, I guess, that allows them to continue to do their lobbying efforts, but saying, hey, well, the court recognized that we could do stuff like this.
One more thing. There were 2 things that the judge asked them to modify. The one that they refused to modify seemed to be the easier one for me. The second one was she didn't want the kickball, the kids playing kickball on the playground at recess. She didn't want those kids to be, those future athletes, to be bound by this settlement. So the harder thing for me is to deal with these things on a year-to-year basis. They had no problem with that. I don't understand. Somebody should take a logic class and pass that along. Am I crazy? Didn't the second part seem more difficult to deal with than the first part?
Well, yeah, I think that they just didn't think that she was totally serious about this.
Oh, good idea.
I think that they felt that, hey, look, we've already started kind of relying upon the idea that this settlement will be passed. All of our member institutions have started operating on this. They've been giving out the licensing agreements to the student athletes. People have gone through entire portal cycles thinking that this is going to be done. And there's 88,000 student athletes who have signed on and only 600 or so objectors.
Right.
Like, of course you're going to pass this. You said it was a good settlement, even though you said not to quote you. Of course it's going to get done. And I think that they didn't take her seriously enough. And it's particularly the NCAA side, because what we've heard is that the plaintiff side is in favor of this, and they're going to have to, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, you're not going to. Somebody said play chicken with a federal judge.
Unbelievable. They tried to stare down Judge F around and find out, and they found out. Tarun Sharma, TK Sharma Law on Twitter. Founded and runs the University of Minnesota Sports Law and NIL Clinic. I appreciate your time. Check him out on the NIL Hour on Conduct Detrimental, the podcast as well. We'll talk again, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. How about those Mets?
18-7, man. We're unstoppable. It's amazing. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Adam.
All right. I was blown away when I saw this. So basically what the judge said 2 weeks ago, it was the Monday after the Masters. 2 weeks ago, she said, I like the settlement. He made reference to the don't quote me on it, right? It's a good settlement. And we don't want to let good be the enemy of perfect. But she was worried about the harm to current athletes who would lose their roster spots because while we're offering more scholarships, there will be less opportunity, and she didn't want to see that. So she asked politely, why not grandfather these athletes in and gradually get to these roster limits? And they basically thumbed their nose at her. Like, I just don't even understand. I said it at the time. I'm not surprised at all. Good for Judge Claudia Wilkin. All right, let's break. We'll come back. Julian Council, Locked On Panthers podcast, going to join us. Where should the Panthers go at number 8 in the draft? I've done mock draft simulations already. 4 of them today. We'll talk to Julian about this next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The NFL Draft.
Start the clock.
The picks will be in.
With the first pick.
It's NFL Draft Week.
This is football. Welcome to the big leagues.
The Carolina Panthers have pick number 8.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Insider reports and in-depth coverage all week long on 99.9 The Fan.
Let's give these people a show.
The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply.
This is is Adam Gold.
Did you see what Duke is paying the quarterback that they pulled out of the portal from Tulane?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. 2-year deal, $4 million per.
Oh, wow.
Per. So.
Do they want a quarterback named Victoria?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold.
For people who are like, why are you playing ABBA? Like,
it's the draft. Take a chance on me.
It is. Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that.
First of all, why would anybody doubt what? Do you need a reason to play ABBA?
I know.
I mean, come on.
It's just, it's different.
There are, I would say, a sizable chunk of our audience right now is like, good track.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So,
but take a chance on me. Hopefully we'll get a good pick today.
Panthers pick 8.
I know.
If they don't trade out.
Don't do something stupid.
I would argue they should trade out, but it depends on who is sitting there at number 8. Now, I've said this before. I've done a whole bunch of these mock draft simulations using ESPN's mock draft simulator. And there are times where Ashton Genty falls to them at number 8, in which case, I mean, the Panthers don't need Ashton Genty, but that is a perfect opportunity to trade out. But if Mason Graham were to fall to them at number 8, to me, that's the pick to make. When I look at what the Panthers actually really need, it is another weapon for Bryce Young. This is not necessarily in this order. Another weapon for Bryce Young. I know they improved the defensive tackle position through free agency, but if you can get one of these, big-time defensive linemen like a Mason Graham, if you can get him, I think you do it. I also saw one mock draft, was it Field Yates, who had them taking an offensive lineman. I'm curious about that. Julian Council, Locked On Panthers podcast, which I listened to on my ride in this morning, the draft day edition. He joins us on the Adam Gold Show. You can follow him at Julian Council on both Twitter and Blue Sky. And maybe before we say goodbye today, we will celebrate the inevitable championship that is about to happen on Sunday. But, sir, at number 8, the Panthers should be hoping for what?
They should be hoping for a difference maker, Adam.
And who would that difference maker be, Julian Council?
It could be a whole number of guys potentially sitting there. I've seen a lot of different things over the last couple of days, especially yesterday. Like, I was absolutely stunned when I saw Matt Miller of ESPN mock Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss via Texas A&M to Carolina at 8. I didn't think he would be the guy, but apparently he's been a riser. Mason Graham, I've seen that happen a couple of times. And I was actually on with 1010XL down in Jacksonville. They were doing a media mock draft, and when I got up there, I still had Mason Graham and Jalen Walker on the board. And I thought to myself, if this was a scenario that played out for Carolina, would they take Jalen Walker, who's a hybrid, who they say they believe is an outside linebacker, or would they take a defensive tackle, Mason Graham, and add him next to Derek Brown for the next 4+ years? I would think that they probably would go with Mason Graham in that scenario. So I took Mason Graham, and then I see Daniel Jeremiah mocking Mason Graham once again to Carolina. So it could be Mason Graham, it could be Jalen Walker, it could be Walter Nolan, it might even be Mykel Williams. Like, at this point in time, I really don't know. It just really depends on what's going to happen at 5 with Jacksonville, and then at 6 with the Raiders, and then 7 with the Jets.
Yeah, I don't know if you've played around with the ESPN mock draft simulator. I'm addicted. I feel like I'm addicted to this every year, but I've caught the bug, and I've done I don't know how many different simulations. If I were the Jets, and the Jets pick right before the Panthers, which is why I have done a lot of these as the Jets should take Tyler Warren. from Penn State. They should take – I actually saw the other tight end, whichever the second best tight end in the draft is.
Colston Loveland.
Right. I saw a mock draft that have the Jets taking that guy as opposed to Tyler Warren. But I think the Panthers should consider that pick as well, but only if Mason Graham isn't there. To me, if Graham is there, I race to the podium. I think that's more important than an edge rusher. And the edge rusher, I guess they're looking at, isn't necessarily an edge rusher. He's a Swiss Army knife who you can put anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Jalen Walker. I think it's pretty enticing to have someone who can play both off-ball linebacker and be able to play edge. And if you look at, like, next year when Jadeveon Clowney is likely not on the roster, when Josie Jewell's likely not on the roster, to have someone who can fill both of those needs there, that's awesome. But also think about it, does he fit what the scheme is today and what may be the scheme next year for Jero Vero is no longer the defensive coordinator?
Right.
And does it make sense to get like a hybrid type of player? Because we have seen some of these guys like an Isaiah Simmons from Clemson not pan out. And I have a hard time believing that Jalen Walker won't pan out, but I had a hard time believing Isaiah Simmons wouldn't pan out when he was there coming out of Clemson. So yeah. I think I blame more of Arizona than the player, but still it has not worked. And Jeremy Chin, hell, he was a hybrid, but now he's kind of bouncing around the league as he didn't really fit what Jero Vero wanted to do. Was there in D.C. last year and played well with the Commanders, and now I think he's out in Las Vegas with the Raiders, still trying to figure out whether he's a true safety or a linebacker or whatever it may be. But, yeah, it's kind of hard to argue against like a defensive tackle, especially when, I mean, the line of scrimmage is important. You saw last year when Derek Brown went down just how poor Carolina was behind him. And I do think they've gotten better this offseason with the addition of Brown coming back for another year, of course, as he's now going to be back healthy. They bring in Bobby Brown III. I don't really see Turk Wharton as being someone who's going to really help them stop the run, but that's another body in there. Shai Tuttle is in a more reduced role, which is better for what you should be asking of him at this point in time in his career than what they were doing the last two seasons. And if you tell me you can add Mason Graham, and you have Derek Brown, whose contract is like a 4 or 5 year deal that's kicking in starting this year.
Yep.
And you have 4 cheap years Mason Graham plus the 5th year option potentially. You have a top 5 defensive tackle next to another guy who could be a top 10 defensive tackle in the league. And then you have maybe a better situation than you had before when they had KK Short and Star Lotulelei here in Carolina. Like, I don't think you can ever go wrong going with defensive linemen or even hell an offensive lineman when it comes just foundationally building your football team.
All right, so you bring up an offensive lineman, and I mentioned before I was looking at, and I've been mock draft, like my eyes are glazing over from all the mock drafts that I've seen and listened to. When I saw Field Yates mock the guy from Missouri who's as a right tackle, it actually, and I said this a few weeks ago, and I got some feedback on Xer, and they were like, "You're crazy. Why would they take an offensive lineman?" I'm like, because you can never have too many offensive linemen, and I don't believe Moton is going to be around forever. And if this guy is a road grading offensive lineman on the right side, a right tackle, who's also allowed, 1 sack all last year at Missouri in the SEC, I don't know. I think that's maybe a guy who you can at least have in the wings if something happens, and you can never be caught with too many offensive linemen. They'll all play. So I wouldn't be against that, but it's probably not their priority. Where do you sit with, other than the trenches, what is the most important need, Julian Council, Locked On Panthers podcast?
Well, I mean, I will say that with the offensive tackle situation, like you go back to last year, I don't think anyone expected them to go with the running back in the 2nd round or a linebacker in the 3rd round, knowing that Jonathan Brooks was going to miss however much time in that season, and Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders are coming back. Like, those are going to be the top 2 backs last year. And then you had Josie Jewell and Shaq Thompson entering into his likely last year, which it turned out to be. Like, you wouldn't think Trevin Wallace is going to play. Now, of course, Wallace had to play because Shaq got injured. But if they take an offensive tackle at 8, that'd be pretty similar to last year. I know the value is a lot more a top 10 pick, but it would be a guy who's coming in with the expectation that he's going to redshirt and then be the starter in 2026. And like, that wouldn't be necessarily crazy. It wouldn't, I don't think, help the team this year. But we'll see. But as far as like what the other need, like I think safety is obviously a big need. I've heard that Houston, they want to move up potentially to get one of those offensive tackles, as it looks like Will Campbell is going to go to Jackson to Patriots at 4, and then Armand Membu from Mizzou is going to go either to the Raiders or to the Jets potentially, and then Kelvin Banks may go in the top 10. So if Houston wants to be able to get one of those three guys and get an instant starter, they're going to have to get up to the top 10. And if Carolina goes back to 25, I'm thinking like Nicky Manwari from South Carolina may be on the board for them. And he can be a day one starter at safety. But if not then we're probably looking on day 2, whether it be at 57 or 74. And maybe they even wait until early day 4 at 111 or 114. I don't know. But I think safety clearly is looking at the whole. That they have one true set-in-stone starter in Trevon Merrick, and they could play Damani Richardson as well. They do not want to play Nick Scott at safety again this year. They want him to be more of a special teams guy. So they have to add a safety who can start, I would think, in this draft, or at least be a part of the rotation. But I do think it's a position that after the draft, they're likely going to circle back and try to get some more veterans in that room.
They have 3 picks, the Panthers do, in day 1 and day 2. Three in the top 3 rounds. They obviously pick at number 8, and then right now it is 57 and 74. If you trade back in round 1, the priority would be getting at least one more day 2 pick, correct?
Yes.
So
I would think at the very least you got to find a way to move up earlier in the second round. And then, yes, it would be nice if you're also, like, in addition to that, adding a pick maybe in the third round.
Right. Now, it's tough. You have to trade back pretty far if you want to add a second and a third. You would have to be trading back probably into the mid-20s. How far back do you think they can go and still get a player that they have circled in the first round?
That's hard because Dan Morgan was not willing to answer how far he's comfortable going back. And that's been the thing. I remember Scott Bitter would talk about a couple of years ago, whatever draft they were in, where they got like through 16. You felt pretty good about all those guys. And I don't think it's as deep this year. We can talk about the edge rusher class and how deep it is, but you look at the edge rushers, like Jalen Walker, there's questions about him, whether he is truly an edge rusher. Michael Williams, you can talk about the production or lack thereof these had. Mark Stewart as well. Like there was no production at all during his time at A&M. Mike Greene, a ton of off-the-field questions where he might be a guy who's going to fall all night long. So none of these, Donovan Ezra is the guy I look at, say, okay, you talk about production, you talk about playing in a P4, okay, this is the guy to take, right? So I can't imagine they're trying to really go past maybe like 12 or 13, where I think Dallas and Miami are sitting right now. I don't think they're really trying to go that much farther down the draft boards, considering that there's not like a ton of high-end talent. Like the high-end talent's going to be gone in the first 3 picks. Like that's going to be, it's the 2 guys that are the high-end talent are Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. They're going to be gone in the first 3 picks. Cam Ward, and he's not really the number 1 overall pick. It's just a terrible quarterback class, and he decided to stay around for another year, and it's worked out into his favor. But he's not better than any of the guys that got drafted and the first 6 quarterbacks that went last year. But just situation, what year it is, he's going to be the number 1 pick. And I guess that's great for him financially, horrible for him because of where he's going. But the 2 premium players in this draft class are Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. Then there's like some solid guys you could see as being starters, but I don't know if there's any stars. So I would guess they probably want to go past like 13.
Yeah, and then it's hard to get teams to trade up. I think the player that teams would definitely trade up for is Ashton Genty. Could you see the Cowboys being silly enough to give the Panthers, because that to me, that's the target right there, is if Genty falls to the Panthers at 8, which I frankly don't see happening because I get the feeling that the Jaguars are going to draft him. But if Genty falls to 8, isn't that the carrot to dangle in front of the Cowboys?
Yeah, that's what I think. I was looking at it because I've been talking about the last couple of weeks. Maybe it's Shador Sanders. Is he the key to Carolina being able to trade down? But if that doesn't appear to really be the thing, as the media that seems to be more enamored with Shador than the actual teams out there. And Pittsburgh may be able to stay at 21 and get him. So it turns out maybe it's Ashton Genty. As Peter Schrager had reported on Tuesday, there were teams that were calling the Browns and calling the Giants, and those 2 teams were receptive to some of the trade offers, and they were trading up to either get Travis Hunter or get Abdul Carter, and then also trying to get Ashton Genty. And it looks like Jacksonville at 5, they're a team that could take him, maybe Tedoroa McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona. Right. That's been another name bandied about and linked to Jacksonville. They could go Mason Graham. So if somehow they don't take Ashton Genty, the Raiders, they probably should go offensive tackle. The Jets don't seem to be interested in Jeanty like that. It really comes down to if he can get past Jacksonville. Maybe Las Vegas takes him, but it's a far greater chance that Jacksonville is going to take him there at 5. But if he does fall to 8, then there are teams like the Cowboys, you would think, or maybe someone else there that's not too far down that would be interested in him. And, like, that would be, I think, the ideal scenario for Carolina is if Ashton Jeanty is able to drop and then they can find a trade partner eager enough to get up there and be able to not move back too far. But if they do have to move back further than they want to, then that's when they got to start squeezing for more picks there on day 2.
Julian Council, Locked On Panthers podcast at Julian Council on Twitter and on Blue Sky. Do you have a mock draft beyond round 1? Do you have a 7-round mock or a 3-round mock?
No, I do not. I did do one where I guess I did do a 7-round mock. I fired a simulator and then just did a bunch of picks. I think I traded down the board and I was able to get which you can do because you can always like make sure the trade goes through.
Yeah, it's
so
fun.
I got traded down.
I've wasted so much time the last 3 days messing around with that. I keep taking Tyler Warren with the pick at 8.
No.
Yeah, no. I keep doing that. Why is that a no? He's a difference maker.
I guess. I mean, come on.
You can have 2 great tight ends, by the way.
Well, I don't know if they don't have one great tight end right
now.
Well,
it's true.
So I don't know.
But for the people who love
didn't even go in the top 10. I just can't even imagine a guy who, I mean, he was awesome last year.
Yeah.
Penn State's receivers are also ass, so that's why he was even as good as he was, because the opportunity. But, like, I mean, come on. Brock Bowers was a dude who was a revelation, didn't even go top 10. I just can't wrap my mind around Tyler Warren going in the top 10 tonight, so we'll see.
When I made the trade with Dallas, he was there at 12, and I took him at 12. Just saying.
Well, there we go.
Julian Council, Locked On Panthers podcast. You're always awesome, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, appreciate it, Adam. Enjoy tonight.
Oh, by the way, we're crowned on Sunday, no?
Yes, Liverpool will be crowned on Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'll be able to watch the match. I'm going to be up in South Jersey for my buddy's wedding. So I'll be driving back to the airport to get to Philly. So after you're listening to it on the radio or whatever.
There you go. You can just stream it right through your phone, right through your car.
Yeah, it's very true.
There you go.
But I gotta make sure I got Sirius XM, so I can always tune in there.
There you go. Thanks, man.
All right.
Talk to you later, Julian Council. It's like, why you drafted Tyler Warren? Because he's a difference maker. That's why. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we have one-timers. You can ask questions. I found this out yesterday. I've been steering people slightly wrong. So if you want to go to YouTube and search Adam Gold Show, that's the way to do it. It's not youtube.com. Just go to YouTube, search Adam Gold Show or 99.9 The Fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to do it. I don't screw you up. And then when you get there, subscribe. There you go.
Yeah, and it'll pop up by itself.
All you need to know. All right, one-timers next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. There's a major shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, Dr. Joseph Pino of Devant Health tells us about an exciting new program that's expanding mental health care in eastern North Carolina. He explains the need, especially among military families.
Military families frequently face moves across the country, long deployments, and added stress that comes with military life. And those experiences can lead to anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health conditions. The stigma around mental health often prevents people from seeking care.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good
good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
From the food we eat to the clothes we wear, agriculture touches every corner of our daily lives. I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. With the world's population growing, we need people equipped and trained to meet the needs of our future. In our program, we rise to meet that challenge every day, and our students are engaged and invested. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
One Adam. Gold. One Adam. Gold.
So I was reading an article about the 10 oddest Guinness World Records, and the thing that caught my eye was most skips by a cat in 1 minute. This woman has a jump rope and is skipping with her cat. Okay, I have got a cat, and let me just tell you, the skipping alone would cause this, but swinging a jump rope anywhere near my sweet kitty Carol, she'd be gone for like 5 days.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the turntables today.
It's not a lot of here goes. Yeah, there's not a lot of draft songs.
No.
Check yes or no.
What is the Is there a soundtrack to the movie Draft Day, which I've never seen?
I don't know. I can look.
I've never seen the movie Draft Day, a Kevin Costner classic.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. He has made sports movies just about every sport, hasn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
Golf, Tin Cup was great.
All kinds.
Baseball, a couple of baseball movies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah.
I know. Not a lot of material.
Yeah, draft Day. Never saw it. I apologize for those people who love it. All right, we have enough time for a few. Let's do one-timers.
All right, so looking today, you can always leave your one-timer questions in our YouTube stream or at me on Twitter. But today, we have a couple different ones. So first off, let me get to this football one in case we run out of time. From Levi, Mark Andrews, seems like he gets traded. Would it make sense for Carolina if they don't draft Warren to pair with Sanders?
I don't think they'll trade for a tight end, right? I think if they take a tight end, I mean I've mocked Tyler Warren to the Panthers 100 times now. So I'm obviously interested, but I don't think they'll trade for one. I think they'll, I don't think they're going to make any significant trades anyway.
Yeah.
I think the rest of their alterations will be via the draft and, I guess, undrafted free agency.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on to Christopher. It's Canes question. So, do Canes fans have 9 bajillion reasons to believe that the very skilled future captain, Sebastian Aho, will score more goals in the current series and or in the second round of the 2025 series? I'm assuming that's what he meant.
More goals than what?
In this series versus the next series. I'm assuming that's what this question is.
Okay, that was very unclear. Look, he had no shot attempts in Game 2. Carolina has won Games 1 and 2 without anything other than an assist as a contribution from Aho. He assisted on the Gostisbehere goal. And again, I actually think he has played well. It has just not been as an offensive player. I thought that they controlled the game a little bit better in Game 1 than they did in Game 2. I thought I was more worried after the first period, but again, that shift that led to the Gostisbehere goal, he was as big a part of it as anybody. But they do need that line to be a productive line on the road, and it will not be as easy. They're going to get Heischer, probably Bratt as well, to give him a speed defense element. It's going to be a lot of pressure on that line, but they do have to come through in this series.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hello, friends. Let me tell you about one of the coolest hangouts in the Triangle. X Golf in Cary. Adam Gold here for X Golf, the premier indoor golf experience in North Carolina. Serious high-end simulator play where you and your regular foursome can play Bethpage Black, cited this fall's Ryder Cup, or you can choose from about 60 other world-class tracks, or just hang out, chill with a drink, some great food, watch the game. Incredible night out. McGregor Shopping Center. X Golf in Cary. PlayXGolf.com/Cary.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, go get the Giants goal!
Let's go, Canes!
The Chetkov, stop! It's on the goal line behind him! He does a snow angel in the paint!
Go, Canes!
Playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Tired of wandering the aisles of those big box stores, struggling to find the help you need? At Home Outlet, we do things differently. First, we guarantee the lowest price on kitchens, baths, floors, and more. Find it cheaper somewhere else? We'll beat it by 10%. Second, we're employee-owned. Yep, the folks helping you design your dream kitchen actually own the place. You're not just another customer to us. You're the customer. So why deal with the other stores? Break up with the big box and upgrade to Home Outlet. Find a location near you at homeoutlet.com.
Stitches, itches, aches, and pains, strep and sinus, minor sprains, pink eye, earaches, fever, flu, virtual visits, physicals too. At WakeMed MyCare 365, we offer both walk-in primary care and urgent care. So find the MyCare location nearest you at wakemed.org. Walk right in, and for just about anything from asthma, rashes, and examinations to x-rays, labs, and vaccinations, make MyCare your care.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-371-0505. 800-371-0505.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at richielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Despite what Art Rooney II told me a couple months ago about they haven't really learned anything from the Kenny Pickett experience, I do think that the decision makers, the scouting department, that staff has learned something from that, you have to feel really good about a quarterback, because sometimes, even if you do, things can go sideways and it doesn't pan out, and you don't want to be in a similar situation in 2 or 3 more years.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria is here, responsible for the musical selections today. It's an all-draft themed
Yeah, we'll
party.
see how far I can get that one going. It's difficult. For anyone who missed the other hours, we had check yes or no, and then ABBA. So
Take a chance on me.
yeah, which are great for draft themes, but
How about Blondie's Call Me?
that'll be next.
Excellent. My gosh, excellent. Bit of news before we run it back. Rod Brindamore just said that it was asked about the lineup, and chances are for Game 3 tomorrow he will roll the same lineup out, which means Roslovic at center on the 4th line, not Mark Jankowski. Freddie Anderson in net for the 3rd straight game, not Pyotr Kochetkov. Now, I'm going to say this out loud. I said it last year. I'll say it again. Pyotr Kochetkov has to play one of these 2 games. Has to. And I don't care what happens in game 3. If Freddie starts in game 3, it's why I would start him in game 2. I do think that last year the Hurricanes got hammered in game 3, or 2 years ago to the Devils. Hammered in game 3. It was an 8-4 loss. Freddie gave up 4 goals early and was yanked. And Kochetkov finished that game. Actually, no, it was Antti Ranta who finished that game. It was pre-Kochetkov. Because the Hurricanes had beaten the Islanders in the first round. The Devils were the second round opponent. They beat the Devils in 5 and then lost to the Panthers. But Ranta came and finished that game. So technically, Freddie went 4-0 in that series because while Carolina lost that game 8-4, they scored 4. Anderson gave up 4. So technically, Ranta was responsible for the loss. Anyway, if you start Anderson here and the Hurricanes don't win, now you are telling Pyotr Kochetkov in Game 4, keep us ahead in the series, sir. And I'm not saying he can't do it. It just adds to the pressure a little bit. I think having the cushion of a 2-0 series lead takes some pressure off Pyotr. And who knows, maybe Rod will use Kochetkov tomorrow, but I think they're going to go with Anderson with an extra day off in between Game 2 and 3. there's less than 2 days off between games 3 and 4. Now, last year, he came right back with Anderson in game 2 years ago. Though last year against the Islanders, the Hurricanes had a 3-0 lead, and he came back with Anderson for game 4, trying to end the series. To me, it spoke to a lack of confidence in Kochetkov, and which is fine. I got no problem with that, and you'd be more than justified to have low confidence in Kochetkov, who it's now been like 5 or 6 games in a row where he has been at the high end of the 5 or 6 games. Okay. That's not good enough. You got to be good. You don't have to be great. You just got to be good. No bad goals. What I don't want to see happen again is, and Rod said this to me specifically Saturday of last week, the day before the series began. We were talking after we did our little interview for the pregame show. It's like, we can't let Freddie get worn down. So Kochetkov is going to play. I'm confident he is going to play one of these 2 games. I hope it's game 3. I don't think it's going to be, because Freddie was too good in game 2 to not roll out there in game 3. Hey, maybe Carolina win game 3 and Kochetkov will have the ultimate free swing. Dude, go out there the best you can. Devils are going to be out there with their hair on fire. You're going to see 70 shots, so go get them.
Well, they are Devils.
Right, exactly. So, but I think we'll see Kochetkov in one of these 2 games. And then, in between game, then for game 5 on Tuesday, they'll go back to Anderson, which is fine. But that's the way I think, ultimately, I think it's going to go, even though I would start Kochetkov tonight. I also would start Jankowski in the middle, but, Rod does a lot go from the broken, no, good, same. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And but they do need, as the question before in the one-timer segment about Aho. It did not go unnoticed by me. I mentioned it in the podcast. I talked about it here. No shot attempts in game 2.
Yeah.
So he's got to be an offensive contributor. Through 2 games, he was more dangerous in game 1 than he was in game 2. But I don't want to ignore the contributions that he has made to winning faceoffs. He's been very good. And I thought that line played really well in the second period, and he's a big part of why they played very well in setting up the Gostisbehere goal. But he's got to at least attempt a shot. Your best player, just say that, has to be somebody who is firing the puck at net. And that did not happen in game 2. So we need to see more from Sebastian Aho in New Jersey in games 3 and 4. There have been, honestly, nobody's played poorly. Everybody has played well. This team is playing very well. It has looked, even though the first period wasn't great, it has looked very Hurricanes-y through 2 games.
Right.
And that's what, if they continue to do that, they'll probably win this series quickly. Mm-hmm. But I do think that game 2 was a lot more even. And as it turns out, we're going back to New Jersey, and
I know
they could lose both games in New Jersey. This is why after game 1, it made me laugh to hear all the people say, "Oh, this game's good. This is going to be a short series."
Nah.
It might. Know. It might. But I don't think you can base anything on one game. Had this game, what we just saw Tuesday night, had that been game 1, nobody would have said this is going to be a short series, because that was a game that could have gone either way. If you're looking at Montreal-Washington, 2 games that could have gone either way. First one went to overtime. Second one, Montreal took a lead. Washington scored 2 quick goals to get back, but that game was 2-1 until the end when the Capitals scored into an empty net.
The only series I might be like, maybe is the Kings and Oilers.
I think the Kings are going to win that series comfortably, but they still have to go to Edmonton, right? And until the home team loses a game, we're basically on serve here. So Carolina's going to have to go up there and get one of the 2 games,
Yep.
It would be great if it were tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you lose both, we've been here before. Let me just bring you back to 22 when Carolina played Boston in the first round. And Carolina had home ice advantage and kicked Boston's rear end all over the rink. 2-0 series lead going up to Boston. We all know it's going to be a short series. And then in the middle of the second period, Carolina with a 1-0 lead gives up a shorthanded goal. Series completely turned.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina lost game 3. They lost game 4 in Boston. Came down here, won game 5, went to Boston, lost game 6. And all of a sudden, you're in a game 7 with a team you thought you were going to sweep. I'm just saying, man, it is the sport is weird.
Hockey playoffs, man. You can never assume anything. Never.
No.
But I do love that we're a Swiss Army knife. That's always helpful.
Look, the Hurricanes have plenty of options. There's an article about how New Jersey's depth needs to do what Carolina's depth does. And the only thing I would say to that is New Jersey doesn't have the depth that Carolina's that looks like Carolina's.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're talking about the Hurricanes' depth, who is it? I mean, is it the Svechnikov, Kokoniemi, Hall line? That's a second scoring line.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, that's not your depth. What Carolina is doing is they're beating them with the Stahl line. And if you lose because the Stahl line beat you, now you're not coming back from that.
No.
You are not coming back from that. All right. A couple of other things. We can run it back. We can play the whole music thing as we do that. And Will Brinson is going to join us in 10 minutes. All right, so let's get back to draft stuff because this will lead us into Will Brinson. We talked about it with Julian Council before. There is one player in the first round who, if he is available, I would definitely not trade out for. And that is Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. It would be a dream scenario, I think, for Carolina to be able to draft him and put him next to Derek Brown. Here is Adam Schefter on the Rich Eisen show, by the way, talking about Graham possibly dropping beyond the reported 5th overall pick to Jacksonville.
On Monday I do this column. I've done it the last few years, like Draft Intel. And I felt like on Monday I said, I don't think Mason Graham is going number 5. Like everybody's pegged him to go for weeks now. Like everybody had Mason Graham going to the Jaguars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would qualify as a surprise that no longer would be a surprise. So now you're asking for the next surprise.
Okay.
The next surprise, I think we're going to get a lot of them in the top 10 because there's no real consensus on these guys, and there seems to be mixed opinions on all of them, and the player from 10 to 32 seems to be similar.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lot of... I actually think that number starts earlier than 10. Again, this is based on everything that I have read, that there are only a handful of people who really move the needle. I got to get that guy. And maybe there's only 2 of them, to be honest. But I think Mason Graham can be one of those guys. I remember watching him at Michigan. I also think, even though Julian Council laughed at me, I also think that Tyler Warren can be one of those guys. Now, do the Panthers take him at 8? Probably not. But can they trade back 5 spots, into the middle of the round and still possibly get him? Maybe so.
Yeah, I like the idea of trading back.
Trading back and getting a guy that you would like.
Right.
I mean, those are...
Ideal. It's very ideal.
Those are... Now, here the problem with that is that there aren't very many players that I think would move teams to trade up for.
Mm-hmm.
And Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise State, seems to be one. I don't know if anybody's going to trade up for Shador Sanders, who seems to be a toxic name in this draft. By the way, speaking of that, let's go to Harry Douglas, because I think this is 100% spot on. Why are teams seemingly afraid to draft Shador Sanders?
Shador Sanders has what America fears the most. A strong black father who has money, who doesn't back down to anyone, and does what he wants to do, and doesn't also play about his kids. So my thing is, why not just grade him and talk about him like you do every other candidate? It's just insane to me that you can have a guy who a lot of people thought was going to be the number 1 overall pick, and then all of a sudden we're talking about the potential of him not even be drafted in the first round.
It's character,
Think
right?
about how crazy and insane that is.
I apologize for stepping on Harry Douglas, because it's the only reason he's dropping like this is because of perceived character issues. Josh Rosen, the quarterback at UCLA, however many years ago, he was drafted 10th overall, right? The year before the Cardinals drafted Kyler Murray at number 1, they drafted Josh Rosen at number 10. The year before. And Rosen had all sorts of red flags like that. Arrogance. Family was wealthy. Questioned whether or not he really wanted it. Aloof in interviews. All of those things. And he went 10 in a quarterback deep draft. And there were rumors that he would even go higher than that. But it's different with Sanders. Like even Levis Will Levis is weird.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Captain, eat the banana with the peel
and the mayonnaise
and the coffee, which he did admit after the fact was kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
certain things you shouldn't joke about. That's one of them.
Maybe that's it. That could be bright. But yeah, I do think that the character issues matter a whole lot more when the athlete is black. They just do. Why? You answer the question. All right, we'll take a break. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. He will join us. Panthers draft. What are we hearing at the top of the draft? Are the Jaguars really taking the running back? Are they that close to winning that they're going to add the running back? We'll talk about that next.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
The NFL draft is almost here, and for the Panthers, it's about one thing: reacting. The first 7 picks in the NFL draft, absolutely insane. And here's the thing: the 9th pick with the Saints seems like they want Shador Sanders, which means everyone that wants a quarterback is going to be calling Dan Morgan. He has to be ready to react.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. Would you like to do a math problem? Of course you wouldn't, but we're going to do one anyway. Here's what you get when you pay closing costs. You lower your monthly payment by $50. Would you pay $5,000 today to save $50 the first of every month over the life of your loan? Well, if you're going to keep that mortgage over the life of your loan, sure, you should, but you won't. Average length of a mortgage is less than 4 years. I've never kept a mortgage longer than 3, and Miller Lending is the home of the original no closing cost mortgage, so you can take advantage when the rates come down. What you're banking on is that the rates will never be lower than they are now for 8 years. That's basically the break-even point. If closing costs are $5,000, you want to save $50 a month on your mortgage, you're going to have to keep your mortgage for at least 8 to make it even. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. It's Miller time. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50. Add any size Sprite for $1.49. Price of participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Come celebrate Global Golf's 4th anniversary sale this week. Don't miss your chance to get a pre-owned TaylorMade Stealth 2 driver starting at $179. Apparel marked down 80% and trade in your current clubs and receive 50% bonus trade-in value. Browse thousands of used clubs, all from top brands like Callaway, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Ping, Titleist, and more. Visit Global Golf today, located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf. Trade-in bonus applicable towards the purchase of new 2025 products.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Charlie did not die from an overdose. Charlie was poisoned.
No other family should go through this. It's just horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Use the free tool. Learn if the online pharmacy you're using is safe.
Gold. Gold.
So I was reading an article about the 10 oddest Guinness World Records, and the thing that caught my eye was most skips by a cat in 1 minute. This woman has a jump rope and is skipping with her cat. Okay, I have got a cat, and let me just tell you, the skipping alone would cause this, but swinging a jump rope anywhere near my sweet kitty Carol, she'd be gone for like 5 days.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Maybe I'm doing the musical selections now.
Your suggestion made me think of another one. So
all right,
I've
good.
got
All right.
It helped me think. Oh, light bulb moment.
I'm sure Shador Sanders hopes that somebody will call me on draft day. Oh, I know one you could use. We'll talk about it during another break. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. He sorts the Sunday pile. When you sort the Friday pile tomorrow, or the Thursday pile tomorrow, what do you think if you had to write, think out of the box here. If you had to write your headline now for tonight, what do you think it's going to be?
Jackson Dart, 3rd overall. Giants shock the world. That's what my gut is telling me. I'm serious. The odds just got slashed in half now. Maybe that's because somebody bet it. It was 50-1 about 10 minutes ago. Now it's down to 25-1. I know Aditi Kinkawala reported on CBS on one of our CBS shows that Dart won't make it past the Saints at 9. And just hear me out really quickly on the Dart thing as I'm bolstering my own narrative here. But if you're the Giants, if you're Brian Dable likes Jackson Dart, that's well known.
Okay.
Around the league, he thinks you're a really good quarterback. If you're Brian Dable and you're Joe Shane, the GM, 2025 is about your jobs.
Right.
You are if your team, if your football, the Giants are not good, they won't have jobs in 2026 with the Giants.
Okay.
Drafting Abdul Carter, who has injury issues and I think maybe even off-field issues, even if he's a perfectly clean prospect, he's a great prospect, in terms of on the field when he's healthy. You already have pass rushers. He doesn't do you that much good. The only way to save your jobs is to get a quarterback. and get a rookie quarterback, have him come in and have him. You can win 4 games with a bad rookie quarterback. Don't ask Frank Reich, but you get the point. Like, if the rookie quarterback looks good and you don't win a bunch of games, people are still excited about the future of the franchise. And so if you're a team like the Giants and you want to get a quarterback, well, if Jackson Dart's your guy and he's not going to fall out of the top 10, reportedly, or you can't trade back up high enough to get him, which I think is the case, even if you jump the Steelers, like, you kind of have to take him up top. Because, otherwise, it doesn't matter about next year because there's not going to be a next year. So, to me, I think it makes a lot more sense that people are giving it credit for if Jackson Dart is as well-liked as I think he is around the NFL.
All right, we're going to dig into this because I think there are so many great things. And I'm going to take you back. I'm trying to think how many years it was when a former Giants regime run by Dave Gettleman took Daniel Jones at what, 6 or 7?
6 overall.
6 overall.
Yeah.
Because, man, around the league, because they also had the 17th pick that year, and they took Dexter Lawrence. Shouts to our friends at Wake Forest High School where he went.
Love Dex. Dex probably one of the 2 greatest high school prospects. Well, like modern high school North Carolina prospects, along with Todd Gurley.
He's a tremendous prospect, had a great career at Clemson, and then he was, I think, the 3rd of the Clemson defensive linemen who were drafted there. We could argue that he's
Cleveland Farrell went 4th, and Christian Wilkins went like 10th.
Yep. And Lawrence is arguably the best, and Wilkins has been very good. But I think Lawrence is definitely the best. Right. Okay.
Sure.
So, but he went 17th. The Giants got a better player at 17 by light years than they took at number 6 because there was this fear that, man, if we wait till 17, Daniel Jones wouldn't be there. They were lucky to get a player like Dexter Lawrence at 17. They blew it by taking Daniel Jones at number 6. Man, you better be sure that Jackson Dart is your guy at 3. And then I bring up this question. Why in the hell would you have signed Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson if you were going to draft Jackson Dart at 3?
Because you didn't know what options you were going to have, like, going into the draft. You'd done some work on them. And again, I think this is something that's kind of materialized a little bit later in the process. Abdul Carter's the favorite there. And again, it might not happen.
Okay.
Abdul Carter's still minus.
No, it's fine. I asked you to think outside the box, and you gave us that, and that is definitely outside of the box. Do you don't think the Giants?
I'm just saying. Look, if you're Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, and you go into 2025 with Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson as your options at quarterback,
you have to win.
But you're both probably getting fired. Now, if you draft Jackson Dart and you have Russ and Jameis, and remember a few weeks ago, I maybe a month ago, whatever it was, we were talking about the Jameis Winston stuff and the Russ stuff, and I pointed out I think it's possible one of them's out of the roster by the time that training camp gets here, or by the time the regular season gets here. So, to me, it's like, all right, you go into the season saying we think we can win with one of Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston, but you have a backup plan if you draft Jackson Dart and you don't win early. You put Dart in there, and if he looks good, you can save your jobs a different way. So, I don't think this is how NFL teams and NFL front offices and GMs and coaches should approach drafting and roster building, but it doesn't matter because it is how they approach it when their jobs are on the line. And I would almost guarantee you that it's very likely that Joe Schoen has been sort of, I know John Mara said he's staying out of the football stuff.
Sure.
But I think it's pretty right. Exactly. I think it's pretty likely that Joe Schoen has been sort of indirectly instructed not to trade future picks because this is a team that might be again, even if you draft Jackson Dart, you might be terrible.
Right.
So if you trade a future first, you could be doing what the Panthers did, giving away the first overall pick and was expected to be a much better quarterback class. Don't get me wrong. In a perfect world, you say, hey man, we've got some leeway, right? We got 2 years of runway here to keep trying to make this thing work. And you draft Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter follows you at 3, or you trade back even better. Or hell, I don't think they're going to have to take Ashton Genty, but he's getting steam in the top top 5.
Yeah.
But it's not a perfect world. You're not going to have 2 years of runway. The only way you can save your job is 2 ways. You win in 2025, or you have a rookie quarterback who looks good. And let's not forget, Brian Dable's got connections with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I hear they crossed over at at Alabama.
Alabama.
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
And Dable is Dable's a guy you hire because he's supposed to be able to develop a quarterback. He's never been given the chance to develop a quarterback. So if I'm Dable, I'm pounding the table for a kid I like in Jackson Dart and saying, look, I can get the best out of this kid. He got the best out of Daniel Jones. Be like, I can get the best out of this kid.
Right.
We can get it out of him next year. We can save our jobs and maybe make him great, and we'll see what we can do. And I think that, to me, if I'm the Giants brass, I'm not thinking about – it's just a reality. You can't think about, okay, let's draft Abdul Carter and put the best team out there that we can. You're going to get pummeled by the Eagles. The Cowboys are, will be like, who knows with the Cowboys. Washington's suddenly good. You got to have something to hang your shingle on if you're the Giants front office. And to me, the only thing you can do it on is a rookie quarterback.
All right, let me move on to Ashton Jeanty, who seems to be the most popular player in the entire draft.
By the way, I applaud you for this is the first draft-related segment I've done or I've seen anywhere that didn't lead with Shador Sanders.
Yeah, I've talked about him. He's going to drop, and I don't understand the character assassination. I understand. Well, I think there's a race element to this. Maybe more
I think
about.
It's also entirely possible that Deion Sanders' kid was maybe a little brash or confident in interviews with teams.
Yeah, but Archie Manning refused to let his son get drafted by the San Diego Chargers. There's nothing more arrogant than that.
But his son was guaranteed to go top 5 overall.
Right,
Sure,
but there's
Sanders,
nothing more arrogant than that. We won't sign.
Yeah. Now, old CBA, different rules. You can kind of get away with stuff. But,
right.
Shador Sanders, I like his over, which means he gets drafted later than this, of 21.5. It moved from 8.5 to 21.5 yesterday, which is a wild move. And personally, look, Mike Tomlin could surprise and take him at 20, I guess. Somebody could trade up and grab him in front of him. I think he's still the favorite over Jackson Dart to be the second quarterback taken, which I don't really understand. He's minus 150. I think Dart even money to be a second quarterback's a good bet too. Anyway, so you're going to ask me about Ashton Jeanty, and I derailed it.
So it's quite all right. So let me get to Jeanty here because I, for the life of me, can't figure out why the Jaguars, a team that is way further away from being good, maybe even winning that division, than adding a running back. I don't understand why they would add a running back at 5, no matter how good Jeanty is. I think they are the prime candidate to trade back. That, to me, is where the draft really starts getting cool, when the Jaguars are on the clock and Jeanty is still there.
So the Jags are trying and have been trying to trade up to number 2 to get Travis Hunter. They want to pair Travis Hunter with Brian Thomas and give Trevor Lawrence and let Trevor Lawrence cook. The Browns are, because this draft is so top heavy, because there's 2 players. There's one clean player, and it's Travis Hunter. Now,
right.
Cam Ward's going to go first overall, but he's a quarterback. He
right.
wouldn't be the first overall pick. He would have been first overall in last year's draft, obviously. Probably would have been maybe the 4th quarterback taken in last year's draft.
Or worse, he might have been a second-round pick.
Before he played at Miami last year, he's probably like a third-day pick.
Yeah.
So there's that. The Jags want to move up to get Hunter. Don't know if that's going to happen, but they're going to, they're thinking about being bold. And then part of the stuff with the steam on Jeanty to 5, going 5th overall, is that there's a lot of buzz about the Bears and the Jaguars having maybe the framework of a deal in place where Chicago would trade to 5, take Jeanty, and Jeanty's kind of that Jahmyr Gibbs,
right?
Type of role. He's maybe more carries, I guess, than Gibbs. Obviously, different level of play, but he can block, he can catch out of the backfield, runs the ball obviously very well. Sort of like the Bears want to go up and get that guy for Ben Johnson's offense. And in that scenario, the Jags trade back to 10 and maybe get a receiver, Ted McMillan, Arizona kid, is a possibility. But I tend to agree with you. You have Travis Etienne. I guess again he hadn't panned out. Tate Bigsby's fine, whatever. It's like running backs. It's sort of like the Panthers drafting Jonathan Brooks, albeit much later, but and not fifth overall. But it's like, are you sure that's the biggest? Like that's
right.
We talk about it with Henry, with Jacobs, with Saquon. Like these guys didn't turn their teams into Super Bowl contenders. They were luxury items that really good teams added to their roster.
Right.
And the reason the Jags are picking at 5 is that they're not a really good team.
I use this analogy, Will. I use this analogy all the time. The running back is the closer in baseball. If you are a 70-win team, the closer doesn't matter. You have to get to the closer. You have to be in position to win a lot of games for your great closer to matter. So if you're not a great team, then your running back doesn't matter, and
right.
Genty will not make them a great team.
Yeah, if you're not a great team, you're probably not running the ball a bunch because you're trailing.
Right.
So it's like the one thing I would say on Genty going 5th, if the Jaguars do end up staying there and picking him, and he was like, I don't know what he was earlier in the week, but he was minus 125 last night to go 5th overall. He's minus 350 right now to go 5th overall. So, I mean, and again, these Vegas odds largely reactionary. Like, if I, go to some, like, weird Discord, right? Like, some private college basketball Discord, randomly and drop everyone, like, bet Jackson Dart 3rd overall, and 20 people bet it, the odds are probably going to move,
Yeah.
Like, I mean, hypothetically speaking, not saying that happened. But if, like with the Genty stuff, the one argument you can make from a player perspective and a holistic draft perspective is that, again, Travis Hunter, really the only clean prospect out there. Abdul Carter, really great player. He's up on that tier as well. Obviously, Cam Ward because of
being a quarterback.
Because he's a quarterback. Then after that, it's like it is the Wild West out there, Adam, from 4 to 32 in terms of who might get taken, what teams like who, where these prospects are. This is one of those years where it's a deep draft. You'd probably rather have a pick in the later half of the first round. You'd probably rather have multiple second rounders than a single first rounder, et cetera, et cetera. And so if you're the Jaguars and you have this 5th pick and you want to add one of the best players in the draft without worrying about like you have these other guys pushed down a little bit. I mean, Genty he's probably one of the 3 best players in the draft. He just happens to play a luxury position. So I like, it's one of those things. I mean, Pete Prisco even mocked Genty to the Jags 5th overall, and is what they should do. And he's like, I don't do running backs in the first round.
Right.
And I get it, but it's like you could also just take the best player, and sometimes that's okay to do, even at that cost.
Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, let's just grab, like, other than Jacksonville at 6, is the Raiders or the Raiders or the Jets, are they where the draft might get just freaking wild?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can. I think the rest of the top 10 after you. So I mean, now again, I mean, you throw Jackson Dart at 3, and everything is up in
we
the
just
air,
got
right?
wild at number 3 if it is Jackson Dart.
Yeah, I mean, like that, but if it holds to the Vegas and the mock draft consensus, which it doesn't always do, especially in a year like this, but it's not, it wouldn't be unusual. If our top 5 is Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell to the Patriots, the offensive lineman, and then 5 you have Genty to the Jaguars. If that's the consensus, like according to the odds and the mock drafts, if that holds, then yeah, I think like 6 through 9 can absolutely flip everything, because the Saints have been, the Saints at 9 have been talked about with a quarterback. They've been talked about with an offensive lineman, a defensive lineman. There's been wild movement with the Raiders and who they might take. And remember, like, we'll have a better idea. I mean, like, I think obviously John Schneider had a lot to do with some of the crazy picks for the Seahawks, but Pete Carroll ain't afraid to go off the board.
Right.
You know, like, and so like the Raiders going kind of nuts wouldn't be shocking at all. Yeah, I mean, I think you could make the case that the Jets, they could go tight ends.
Yeah, that's what they should do.
You know, like they've been connected with the tight ends. You know, you've got whatever quarterback situation with Fields. They don't really have a lot of depth after Garrett Wilson now. I know somebody, I can't remember who it was, said that this new regime may not love Breece Hall. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they just went defense, right? Eric Glenn, first year. Obviously, he's not making the picks, but he's going to have a massive input if he doesn't have full control. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if they decided to put their stamp on sort of like a blue collar defensive player at that position.
I will be surprised if the Jets, if Warren is there, and I think he will be there, the Jets either take him or they trade back. And
I think that's entirely reasonable. Yeah,
the Dallas Cowboys will almost certainly trade up because Jerry Jones now is tired of being criticized. Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. I appreciated that out of the box headline. Jackson Dart 3 to the Giants. We'll be looking for that, and I hope you're holding that ticket.
Yeah, well, we'll be popping bottles if it happens tonight. I'll tell you that much.
Thanks, man.
See you, man.
All right, Will Brinson, senior NFL writer, CBSSports.com. Our friend Jeremy Greene is going to join us next hour. He is in Green Bay. You talk about a draft geek. He is in Green Bay. Remember when Evan Cohen from ESPN was on with us a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I love him. He's great.
He's awesome. I love having Evan on.
I don't know where he gets his energy from, but he's great.
I'm sure he's a Celsius fan.
I was going to say, maybe he loves our drink.
We'll ask him next time. But he used to go to the draft every year as a kid.
Yeah. Oh.
As a young guy.
It was a tradition.
Yeah, he loved the draft.
That's fun.
I don't love the draft that much.
No. I mean, hey, to each their own. So, like some people's tradition is spring training. I don't really care much for going to spring training, but some people love it.
I have been down there once, and I'm trying to remember why I was down there. It was about 30 years ago. I happened to be in Florida during spring training, and then where we were staying was pretty close to, I believe, where the Orioles trained.
Oh.
So we went out, and I was working for a station in Baltimore at the time. So I'm like, oh, wait, some of this can be written off. Look at that.
Yeah. Any excuse.
So we went over, and I didn't do anything there. Just watched. Just watched. It was the early part of workouts, so I just watched guys stretch and take infield practice.
Right.
Which I thought that was cool anyway. But yeah, I've never like we used to go to Panthers training camp and stand out there in the oppressive heat.
My dad and I did too.
And watch. I'm like, why are people here?
Don't do that anymore.
What are you doing? Are you watching them? This?
This is why I'll always be a Panther fan, because I have those scars.
Gosh. Like gross heat.
It's bad. Yeah.
We did the Spartanburg thing.
Yeah?
Oh.
It's hot.
Couldn't wait to get back to the hotel. Hated every second of that. All right, we'll stretch, and we will place bets next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. There's a major shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, Dr. Joseph Pino of Novant Health tells us about an exciting new program that's expanding mental health care in eastern North Carolina. He explains the need, especially among military families.
Military families frequently face moves across the country, long deployments, and added stress that comes with military life. And those experiences can lead to anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health conditions. The stigma around mental health often prevents people from seeking care.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The extra help in Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Your background may not include agriculture, but 2 years at the Agricultural Institute will prepare you for a career in it. Whether you are a military veteran with an arsenal of skills, kickstarting your second career, or about to graduate high school, the Agricultural Institute at NC State University is the right place for you. Nurture your passion and find your career. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This is Adam Gold.
Frankly, I'm not sure that there is a sport that we could theoretically even put in the Olympics that isn't. I said bowling. Yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Croquet? Lawn darts?
I'm waiting for cornhole.
Oh, there's somebody that thinks, yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Is that what you were thinking?
Yes.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Yes. See?
It's possible this is the worst song ever.
Now we don't even have to say words. We just telepathically send stuff. You're thinking about the crappy song I'm thinking about? Yes.
I'm not even lying. This might be the worst song ever. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. We got a lot to do here. Next hour, Jeremy Greene. He's does the afternoon show on ESPN's affiliate Nashville. But he is in Green Bay at the draft, and he does a draft guide. He actually sent me his draft guide.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. I feel compelled to, is it available for purchase? I feel compelled to buy it.
Yeah.
Even though I don't care. I can't even imagine being that into it that I would produce a draft guide.
No.
Anyway, he's got a Panthers draft guide. Sent me the Panthers and the Jets.
Wow, both.
He's a Jets fan.
Yeah, he is.
Right.
Yes.
So I sent him a text about it, which is how this whole thing started. But anyway, we'll ask him about the Panthers. And the Jets are of interest because they pick immediately in front in the first round of Carolina. And while I don't know that their needs are aligned, what the Jets ultimately do will obviously impact what the Panthers ultimately do.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about Panthers more than the Jets, but whatever. And he's a Jets fan again, so he's already all over it. All right, it's time to stretch.
Okay, so I know this is a bit random, which, it's sometimes the best stuff to talk about, but it's mowing your lawn season. So I'm curious if you have these issues, because you have a lot of grass to mow as well.
I do have a lot of grass to mow.
So I'm curious if you know that there's actually do's and don'ts of mowing your lawn.
Yeah.
So, one, because this grass is growing really fast, people. So, one, always mowing in the same direction. Apparently, that's a bad idea. You don't want to do that because it trains your grass to grow that way, and it's bad for your soil.
I didn't know it was bad for the soil.
Yeah.
No, you can't. You got to go back and forth.
Right. Even if you want your grass to look like a beautiful baseball field.
Well, look at a baseball
field. Just go the other way.
They usually go one way and then back this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next time,
one looks
go
darker
the other
than the
way.
other. Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So also, I don't know what kind of psycho is doing this, but starting in the middle of your yard, don't do that. This is just they say that's inefficient. You'll have to mow more and you'll have to go over stuff that you've already done. So I don't know. I feel like that's like eating a sandwich from the middle and it's not cut. Like, who does that?
That is true. No, I usually start on the outside.
Yeah.
Right. I go all the way around the perimeter first.
Right.
And I generally work my way in and and blow the clippings out to the outside.
It's a strategy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah. We don't, by the way, I don't have any bags attached.
Oh, no.
No,
yeah,
I don't do.
You're not my neighbor.
I think the clippings in the lawn are good.
So yeah, it's fine. I know. Unless you have a dog, because Biff likes to roll around in.
Yeah.
Also, using the wrong mower, because I know it's fun to have a riding mower, but I don't know who they are, but whoever wrote this article said that if you don't have more than a half of an acre or more, you should just use a push one.
Right.
So, which, makes sense. I don't know. I grew up with a push one, so
we could not do a push mower.
No, you'd still be out there mowing
By the time we were done, we'd have to start again.
I know. And then last but not least, you need
Go
to
out there
sharpen.
with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, exactly. Sharpen the blades, but apparently not too sharp. You can get one online for $10, but doing it too sharp is also bad because it could chip rocks or something like that, which will dull it. I don't know. To me, just sharpen it. It's fine. I don't know. But for anyone who needed those facts as we go into the warm season, there you go. Also,
it is lawn mowing season.
It is lawn mowing season. Also, I don't know if it's tattoo removing season for anybody else, but it is for Pete Davidson. Anyone who knows of Pete Davidson, he is covered in tattoos, and I guess he's feeling a lot of remorse for it. So he's been trying to remove it. And
really?
Yes.
He's got a lot of,
a lot of tattoos. And so he's letting you know that he's trying to remove it, but it's going to take him probably another 10 years to complete this process, because what you have to do, I didn't realize this is how it works. Now, I know it's like a laser removal, but it takes 10 to 12 sessions for each tattoo, and you have to have a 6-week healing process in between each session. So he said it's going to take 10 years of his life to get rid of these regrets. So
just
think about
keep
it.
them.
I know.
At this point, just keep them.
Well, yes, exactly. If you're 95 years old, who cares anyway? But yeah, if really think
most
about
people
that
have
tattoo.
them now anyway. What is the big deal at this point?
I know. Don't get anything stupid.
Is Davison going on a job interview?
I know, right? What are we doing? Going on his 800th date? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea why he wants to get rid of them. But yeah, so just be careful when you make those decisions. However, you may not have to think as much to make some good bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, I have no idea how I did yesterday because I wasn't paying attention, so let's just move on.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I remember one because I picked the Capitals to win. You picked the Canadiens.
I did.
But I think I took the over, which it was not over, so I was only half right.
I picked the Canadiens to win in overtime and under 5.5.
Right.
I just needed an empty net goal to, or an extra attacker goal to get into OT.
Nope. Didn't work out, but we'll see. Maybe we'll have better luck today. So, let's see here. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators, now they're in Ottawa, not too far. Ottawa Senators have got to win this one. It's like they're going to run away with this one. So give me the Ottawa Senators to win at home. First game at home. I'll take the under 5.5. That's plus 230.
You are usually better at this than I, but I think Toronto is winning.
I know.
Over 5.5, plus 270, and give me a Michael Nyes anytime goal at plus 290.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Me wanting more hockey always gets in the way sometimes. But next up, I'm going to take the at-home underdog between the Golden Knights and the Minnesota Wild. So give me the Wild to win this game. They're plus 130, so why not? We'll go with it.
All right, man, I want Tampa to win so badly, so I'm going to stay away from that game. Minnesota takes a 2-1 lead over the Vegas Golden Knights today. It is plus 130 right now, and I think we're going to go over 5.5 goals as well. So give me the Wild and over 5.5, and that'll get you a cool plus 295.
Nice. Last but not least, Winnipeg Jets are in St. Louis taking on the Blues. Never like to see the Blues win, so let's go with the Jets, and I will go over 5.5. That's plus 300.
Plus 300?
Yep.
All right. Knicks and Pistons tonight. I kind of think this is easy. Too much going on in the Knicks' heads. Pistons outright plus 106 at home and go under 216.5. Pistons outright under.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets, choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Do you ever go to the Carolina Hurricanes games and find yourself thinking, what do the players eat before the game? What are their pregame rituals? What kind of music gets them pumped up ahead of the game? How sacred is the game day nap? What's the postgame mood on the team plane? Check out my new podcast, Iced Tea, with me, Megan LaMontagne. I get to talk to people who spill the tea on the Carolina Hurricanes. Listen to Iced Tea in any podcast app or watch the show on the Fan YouTube channel.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Join our team in the fight against cancer at V.org.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
2-2. Pitch to Pete. Swing and a drive. Well hit to left. Donovan back in there. She goes. Home run. Pete Alonso into the second deck. Just to the left of the 358 mark in left field for Alonso. Home run number 6 on the year. The 1-1 coming. Lindor hits it high in the air. Deep to right field. Towards the Coca-Cola corner. And gone. Put it in the books. Francisco Lindor with a game-winning home run on no doubter as he hits it several rows back into the upper deck in right field.
You're listening to the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Rusty just trying to make me smile? Is that what the whole plan is here?
Looks like it.
18-7. Swept the Cardinals in 4. Gosh, that sounds so good to say.
Cubbies sweeping the Dodgers. They're coming back after that terrible Japan tour.
You're still wearing that the 2 games in Japan.
Terrible. Oh my gosh, that's the worst way to start the season.
What, it happened in the other side of the
It did. So it
middle of the night?
count.
You didn't watch it.
Doesn't count.
Right?
No, I was not watching that at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I'd get up. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd watch it. We had to get up pretty early to watch Korean baseball during the pandemic. But so the Mets swept the Cardinals 4 straight at Citi Field, and then they just swept the Phillies. A extra innings come from behind win. Was it 4-3? I think it was 4-3. Yeah, it's 4-3. It featured everything, and they haven't even gotten like real good Juan Soto yet. They're doing all this without Juan Soto's offensive contributions.
Yeah.
So right now, Pete Alonso is playing the role of Juan Soto. Francisco Lindor is doing what he did a year ago. Actually, he's better. It's crazy. Crazy. So I am waiting, though. I was talking to Tim Donnelly, who does the show locally after me, and he's a Mets fan, too. I don't know that that's a requirement here, but it might be, since the 2 main hosts here are both Mets fans. But I asked him, I said, are you believing yet? And this speaks to all fandom. Are you believing yet, or are you still waiting for the shoe to drop? And he's like, I'm a Mets fan, right? I always assume the shoe is dropping. I get it. It's gonna take until like June for me to be a true believer in this team, because I still don't know who's pitching.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, I get it. I mean, as a Panthers fan, I have high hope. Well, no, I am optimistic about Bryce Young, but pause. Like, wait for it. Just let's see.
Right. No, I think we want to see the next step.
Yeah, we want
right?
to see him be successful. We just don't want the regression.
The last game, but the last few games, the last game was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
The last few games, I think, gave us all in our brain, we could project to this upcoming year and said, all right, quarterback solved. Except you just never know how end of seasons go.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be a long layoff between game 17 one year and game 1 the next.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, he's got to play a little bit in the preseason, right?
I would hope so.
So last year I knew what they tipped their hand at what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
They were terrified to put him on the field.
Yes.
And because one series out, that was it.
And it showed in the
regular season. They scored a touchdown. And then, the first 2 games were so bad that they're like, oh, he can't play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go relitigate the whole 2024 season. But the way this season starts in terms of, I'm not even that concerned about wins and losses for this team. But how it looks on the offensive side of the ball, my gosh, is that important.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're like 2 weeks away from a crisis. And if you don't believe me, watch what happens if they get off to a bad start.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not talking about wins and losses. I'm talking about the offense looking like it's supposed to look. So 2 games. 2 games, crisis mode. That's where we'll end up being. All right, let's Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, we'll start with Panthers-related things. Adam Schefter on the Rich Eisen Show. And this is a Panthers-related thing because of what's going to happen next here. Here's Adam Schefter on one of the players who the Panthers should be interested in if he is there, maybe falling all the way to 8.
On Monday I do this column. I've done it the last few years, like draft intel. And I felt like on Monday I said, I don't think Mason Graham is going number 5. Like everybody's pegged him to go for weeks now. Like everybody had Mason Graham going to the Jaguars, right? Mm-hmm. So that would qualify as a surprise that no longer would be a surprise. So now you're asking for the next surprise.
Okay.
The next surprise, I think we need a lot of them in the top 10 because there's no real consensus on these guys, and there seems to be mixed opinions on all of them, and the player from 10 to 32 seems to be similar.
All right, now, if Mason Graham drops, Bucky Brooks from the NFL Network has a great spot for him.
Should Mason Graham as the top interior, where do you feel like Mason Graham finds his way in the league?
Well, look, we're going to bring him, let's go to Charlotte. Let's put him down with the Carolina Panthers, because when the Carolina Panthers have been dominant, it's because their front line has been able to dominate at the point of attack. You put Mason Graham alongside Derrick Brown. Now you have 2 guys that are relentless competitors at the point of attack. He is an animal when it comes to nonstop quickness, energy, heavy-handed, relentless in his pursuit of the ball carrying the quarterback. To me, he's a culture changer.
That's what I would do more than an edge rusher. Now, if I'm the Panthers, I'm going, unless Graham is there, unless somebody I have to have is there, I am looking to trade back. And I would even do the trade back and then trade back again. I would try to see if I can come out of this draft with, you want to have a first-round pick. I don't think it matters if the pick is between anywhere from 10 to 32. But I would want to have a first-round pick and then a couple of seconds and a couple of thirds. I would want more cracks at it. And I think you can address legitimate needs and build depth in your roster. I won't tell you what I did in my latest ESPN draft simulation.
It was one of the ones this morning.
No, this is the one. I did this during the last break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Even sooner.
I'm saving it for Jeremy Greene, who joins us from Green Bay in just a second. Peter Schrager from ESPN on listening about the Browns and the Giants potentially trading out of 2 and/or 3.
I'll tell you this. Around the league, the Titans, they're not listening to trade offers. However, there have been phone calls made to both the Browns at 2 and the Giants at 3 with the intention to move up from several different sources telling me there are teams who are looking to get up in this draft to either the 2 or the 3 spot. The assumption being to move up to the 2 or the 3 spot, it would be for Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, or the running back, Ashton Genty, who everyone expects to go somewhere in that 5 to 7 to 8 range. There have been teams making calls, and those teams are not immediately slamming down the phone. The Browns at 2, the Giants at 3. Everyone assumes it's going to be chalk, that this is going to go Cam Ward, it's going to go Travis Hunter, it's going to go Abdul Carter. Not so fast. I think the 2 spot gets very interesting if the Browns are listening to a Godfather deal for them to trade back and someone to trade up into the top 3.
All right, first of all, 2 things that get me about that. One is that the Titans are not listening to they're not taking calls on the first overall pick. That is malpractice. If you're the Titans and somebody wants to trade for the first overall pick and the quarterback you're about to take is named Cam Ward, no offense to Cam Ward, he might turn out to be a good quarterback. There isn't a soul that thinks that this guy is a can't-miss prospect. You want to get the first overall pick? Make me an offer. I am taking every freaking phone call about that. So, in some ways, that almost invalidates what Schrager just said. And because the other part of that is 100% true. If you're the Browns or you're the Giants, yeah, I'll listen. Now, the Browns should sprint to hand the card in and take Travis Hunter. If he's not the best wide receiver, he's probably the second or third. If he's not the best cornerback, he probably is. He's probably the second best cornerback. And you get both with 1 pick? What are we doing here? He should be the first pick in the draft. The Tennessee Titans should be taking Travis Hunter. That's what they should do. But they'll be in the draft. They'll be in the market for a quarterback again soon because that's how it works. Silly. All of that is silly. One more thing, Peter Schrager, on why is Shador Sanders, or that Shador Sanders is falling in the draft.
I don't have a team for Shador right now, and you guys are talking about Pittsburgh. I think that would be a great fit for Shador, and I think 21's like the perfect spot if he slips. This could be a long night, and this could go into Friday, and that's not because we did this in the media. This is because there are 32 teams, and one of them has to pick him, and if that's the case at 3, awesome. Giants, awesome. At 9, Saints, great. 21, awesome. But let's not treat him like other prospects.
Why aren't we treating him like other prospects? I don't get. He's a prospect. We should be treating him like we should be treating Jackson Dart or Cam Ward or anybody. Whatever. I don't get it. But I think I said this yesterday. Way too much time between whatever happened last and the draft. Way too much time. Although maybe ESPN wants it that way. We'll see. All right, Jeremy Greene is in Green Bay at the draft. Is there too much time between the combine, free agency, and the draft for Jeremy Greene? We will talk to him about it next.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Let's go! It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Aho now to Jarvis. Jarvis, go get the Giants goal!
Let's go, Canes!
The Chetkov, stop! It's on the goal line behind him! He does a snow angel in the paint!
Go, Canes!
playoff hockey in Raleigh is something that you can't describe, and it's because of you. So we want to be here.
The Canes' road to the Stanley Cup runs through us. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
Child abuse. It happens in all communities. Learning to spot the signs of abuse and knowing how to report it can save a child's life. Children's Advocacy Centers of North Carolina supports over 50 centers statewide, providing hope and healing to young victims of abuse, neglect, and trauma. Join us in the fight against child abuse. Visit cacnc.org to learn more. That's cacnc.org.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
April is National Safe Digging Month. 811 is the first step to getting your buried underground utilities like gas, electric, or internet lines located. Having these lines marked before digging helps keep you, your family, and your neighborhood safe. Play it safe when you plan on digging and call or click 811 3 working days before you dig. Learn more at nc811.org. Sponsored by North Carolina 811 and the North Carolina Association of Broadcasters in cooperation with this station.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-2013. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Gold. Gold.
Some of the best trades ever made are the ones you don't make. Again, I'm sure that there are tons of stories like that.
Kind of like a relationship. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you didn't go out with. Like that person that you tried to, and then you see them 10 years later and you're like, ooh, dodged a bullet.
So you sound like you've been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos.
We're stretching.
What is that? I have no idea what this is.
This is old school, like 90s country, Jody Messina. It's
any
Heads,
relation
Carolina.
to
Tales, California.
Loggins and Messina?
I do not know
You
that.
don't know.
No clue. Somebody probably does, and they'll tweet at
Jim
me.
Messina was Loggins, Kenny Loggins, and Jim Messina, right?
Potentially.
I could be wrong there. Anyway, draft is tonight. I don't know if people know that. first round of the NFL draft, Thursday night. Second round and third round. Day 2 is tomorrow, and third round on Saturday. All of it in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I read today that they expect like 120,000 people to come into Green Bay for the draft, and there are like 5,000 hotel rooms. So all I could think of when I read that was, where's Jeremy Greene staying? ESPN Asheville at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. So before we get to the draft, I saw that story and thought, man, do you have a friend in Green Bay? Are you staying in Milwaukee? Are you sleeping in a rental car? What is going on, Jeremy Greene?
So if you look at the state of Wisconsin, it looks like a hand.
Yeah.
And there's a little mole that goes out into Lake Michigan. It's a little peninsula that's about 45 minutes called Little Sturgeon Bay. I'm in a converted barn that they converted into a 3-bedroom Airbnb, and they forgot the internet exists. So there's one spot in a corner. I'm standing in a corner like a bad kid to talk to you guys because I don't have internet signal anywhere else in this house.
That is awesome. Well, we can hear you loud and clear for now. Anyway, Jeremy Greene, I told you yesterday when we were texting back and forth that, and this is not a new discovery because I remember it from last year, and the same thing happened to me. I am addicted to the ESPN Draft Simulator. I have done way too many simulations already for the Panthers, so this will be the basis for our conversation. Here's what I just did in the commercial break prior to the top of the hour. I traded back from 9 to 12, or from 8 to 12 with Dallas. And then I traded back from 12 to 25 with the Texans. And we end up with the 25th pick, then 3 second-round picks and 2 in the third round. So I have no idea if that's even possible. But, look, the draft is wacky anyway. And I ended up with James Pierce, the edge rusher from Tennessee, at 25. Then I took T.J. Sanders from South Carolina, the defensive tackle, at 47. Higgins, the wide receiver from Iowa State. Morrison, the cornerback from Notre Dame. Reed, the safety from Penn State. And then Trapilo, the tackle from Boston College. And now I'm done. I have built a Super Bowl champion.
I would love everything you just said. The only problem is that so the NFL draft is a lot like a middle school dance. You have the boys on one side, the girls on the other side.
Right.
And somebody has to be willing to step out there on the dance floor, and I'm willing to dance, and I want to find the girl to dance with. The problem is that there's about 10 guys on that dance floor right now that are just giving it their all, and none of the girls want to dance with them. Nobody wants to trade up,
right?
Because nobody wants to give up that capital from about 30 to 100.
Right.
That's really the bulk of this draft. We're deep in NIL and COVID years, so these draft classes are really deep. They're just not great on the high side. So you get a team like Carolina, you're picking at 8 in basically a 5-man draft. You're going to get a quarterback that should not go that high.
Right.
So that gives you the opportunity that somebody could be pushed down to you. Carolina's probably going to get stuck at 8 because I don't buy into this. The teams are trying to trade up for Genty. I don't buy it. It doesn't make any sense. Taking a running back in the first round is bad enough. Giving up draft capital to do it that's just compounding the error. I don't
so that means the Cowboys will do it.
So one of the guys that's doing our draft coverage with us, because we're doing the radio thing from up here, is a Cowboys fan. And he has told me no less than 100 times in the last 3 days, if we take Matthew Golden, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom and compose myself because I'm going to lose my mind. And I don't have the heart to tell him that would not be a smart thing to do, but it's probably no worse than the 5th dumbest thing you could do.
All right, well, maybe we'll get to the Cowboys. I do think Jerry Jones has floated the notion that they are working on, as he said, substantive trades. I don't even understand. He also said that he was all in with his current team a year ago, which did not work out for them in the long run. What do you think the smartest thing, assuming you can't trade? You can't trade out because there's not enough people. There's nobody there that people are dying to come up and get. So if the Panthers have to pick at number 8, what do you think the smartest thing that they can do?
For me, it would be to take Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan.
Okay.
I don't think that's in the cards. Will Johnson's funny to me. I call it prospect atrophy. Of their, we have them for so long because Will Johnson was elite as a freshman at Michigan, but he couldn't come out. And over the course of time, we see more and more tape, and he never really gets better because he was so good to start with that we just get tired of them and we get fatigued of them. And so, under really no fault of their own, they start to slide down the board for the new sexy toy. So Jalen Walker passes them, and Michael Williams passes them. And then somebody like me who has no life and watches a lot of tape has to go, you do understand that one of these guys is really good and the other two are projections. And I hate taking projections in the top 8.
Right.
Or in the top 10. I want a guy that I know what they're going to be. Jalen Walker can be an elite chess piece. He's not a linebacker because he's too stiff. He's too small to be a dedicated edge, so you're going to move him all over the place. Michael Williams, I don't understand taking a guy that didn't win as a pass rusher on the best defense in the country and thinking he's going to somehow get better in the NFL. That math doesn't match for me. So I'm going to take the safe guy, especially considering I don't have my own second-round pick. I've got the Rams, so I'm picking at the back half of 2. I like that I have a 2. I just wish they had their original pick. If they were at 39, I could take the risk on Jalen Walker and feel better about it because I knew I'm going to get another solid defensive piece at 39. You get out of the top 50 and it gets you get into like Darian Porter, who I like.
Right.
But he was a receiver 2 years ago. And now he's a top 50 corner, and that's tough for me.
All right, well, I think I've told you this. In almost all of my mock drafts when I don't trade, Darian Porter is the second-round pick at 57.
Darian Porter is – I like the tape on him.
Right.
It's just it's very specific scheme because he has to play off. He's got really good hands because he was a wide receiver. He just doesn't necessarily understand the nuance. If I'm taking a corner in the second round, I want Savon Ravel from ECU.
Okay.
I absolutely
like him too.
Love that kid.
Yeah. I took him in one of the mock drafts as well. Now, he's better man than zone?
Porter is more of a zone guy. Revel can do it all.
Okay.
Because he's absolutely freakishly fast, and he's a hair over 6'3".
Yeah, he's big, right.
He's got great closing speed. Revel's in my top 20 overall.
Okay, I was going to ask you about that because why isn't he a first round? Why isn't he a consensus first rounder if he's a cornerback with great speed and size?
Because teams get locked into the medical. So Revel had the ACL at ECU, and so they get locked into the medical. And some of these teams, and I didn't understand this until I came to Green Bay, which I now like to refer to as the land that time forgot. They have one store and one restaurant in the town, I've eaten at that restaurant now 3 times, and I've seen the menu. I'm good with it, and I've gotten to the top of the mountaintop, and I really don't want to do it again. Certain teams don't understand the ACL injuries at this point. We've gotten so good at that, because we have so many of them. Well, we have 100 ACLs in the NFL every year. We've gotten so good at fixing that is it possible he loses a step? Maybe, but even if he loses a step, he's a kid that ran a 4.38 at ECU. So okay, he loses a step, now he's 4.45. He's still 6'3". He's really long, and he's got about a 40-inch vert. If that comes down to 38, he's still in the top 10% of this draft class.
Yeah.
But teams get antsy about ligament injuries, shoulders. Jahad Campbell, he's got a labrum. I tore my labrum. I went back to work 3 weeks later, and I didn't get hit.
Right. You do radio, though,
Campbell will be
Jeremy.
fine.
You do radio. You should need a labrum.
I don't need an ACL. I don't need anything that is involved in me running. Because if I'm running, you should run too, because something big and scary is chasing me.
Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville, is joining us here at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. All right, so you're not feeling Jalen Walker. If Mason Graham falls to the Panthers at 8, they should do what?
I would take Mason Graham. I don't think there's a possibility it's going to happen.
Okay.
Because I have it on pretty good authority that the Jets board right now is Mason Graham is the pie in the sky. We don't think he's going to be there, but if he does, we'll turn the card in quick. They have very similar grades on Tyler Warren and Armin Mimbu, the offensive tackle from Missouri.
Right.
So I don't think he would get there. If he did, that would almost guarantee that Deion Walker is being drafted by the Carolina Panthers sometime on Saturday, because you would now have Derek Brown and Mason Graham that are both converted defensive tackles playing 5-tech.
Right.
That's fine. I just don't love it with more angular edge rushers like you have with Jadeveon Clowney and DJ Wanham. Wanham's got one more year on the deal. Jadeveon is 33 years old, I believe. So you can get by with it for a year. Mason Graham is that good. For me, the draft board goes Hunter and Carter. Which order you put them in, I don't really care. Do you prefer edge rusher? Great, go Carter. If you want the two-way guy, go Hunter. There's a drop-off from there, and then you get into Will Campbell and Mason Graham, and they're not sexy. That no fan base is going to lose their mind and get super happy about them, but they're going to be stars on your team for 10 years. So is the fit beautiful? No. But they're so much better than any other. And there's no projection. Like, if Mason Graham misses, it's because he cut his own leg off with a hacksaw. Because if he has 2 feet, 2 hands, and a head on his shoulders, he's going to be a really good NFL player. May never be a star, but he's going to be really good.
Yeah, and playing next to Derek Brown certainly wouldn't hurt. Or would he play next to Derek Brown?
They play an unsexy brand of football.
Right.
And so people just don't fall in love with it. They watch the tape and go, yeah, he's really good, but, he didn't blow somebody up like Mike Greene. Mike Greene destroyed Josh Connerly at the Combine. And all of a sudden, everybody forgot about everything with him. And I like Mike Greene. I don't like him as a person necessarily, but the tape's good.
Right.
Mason Graham's not sexy. He's just a big, stocky, country-strong kid who I met him the other day, and he's from L.A., and that blew my mind. Because he looks like he's from Omaha, Nebraska.
All right, final thing for Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter, who has his own draft guide. So because the Jets pick right in front of the Panthers, I saw for many, many, many weeks it was the offensive tackle from Missouri who's played right tackle his whole career and is obviously great at it, because he is a consensus top 10 pick. But I can't figure out why the Jets, who haven't had a great tight end since Mickey Schuler, why the Jets aren't all over Tyler Warren.
The best way I could explain that is because the New York Jets are why Arby's has a fish sandwich. Because if there's something that makes 0 sense, they will do it. And Armin Mimbu makes 0 sense, which is why I'm convinced that's who the Jets are taking. Tyler Warren will turn into a 10-time Pro Bowler, and it will probably be for a team that I absolutely hate. And it'll probably be for Ben Johnson, who's from the same city I am, for the Chicago Bears. And I'll have to watch that going, we could have had him, and instead we got a long-armed tackle who somehow in the process gained the ability to fly, because he went from a top of the second round pick to a top 10 pick and played 0 games. The Jets have done this throughout my entire life. People ask me why I'm such an angry person, because I'm a New York Jets fan, and they are fuel to an angry fire. Vernon Golston was this. I could do this for the next hour.
I know.
And they're going to do it again with Mimbu. I'm with you. I love Tyler Warren. I think he's very versatile, very modern-day NFL. I love Loveland, though, too, the kid from Michigan.
Right.
Everybody talks about there's this difference. I don't really think there is. I like them both.
Are you like the kid from Michigan as much as Ty Warren?
Colston, I don't like him as much. I think Warren's my 6 overall, and Loveland's my 10. So
Okay.
there's a little drop, but it's not significant. Colston Loveland has the problem of he's kind of got the same problem that I do. Well, he is athletic. I'm not. I just make not athletic look less athletic because I'm built like a cinder block. Colston Loveland is 6'5", and he looks unathletic. He looks like a guy that would run a 4.8 40. But then you watch him, and his strides are long, and it's kind of clunky, and it doesn't look smooth. You know, you watch Simone Ravel, it's smooth watching him run. Colston Loveland's like a Mack truck. He's big, but he's got a gigantic engine. It takes a minute for him to get started, but once he gets started, watch out. I really like him. I just want him to go to not Anthony Richardson. Anybody, I don't care. I don't care who takes him. Give him a quarterback not named Anthony Richardson, and that team gets an A.
Gotcha. Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville, built like a cinder block. And thank you for joining us from the barn. Is it north of Green Bay, Wisconsin?
We're about 45 minutes north. I'm looking at Lake Michigan right now. I will say this. This place is absolutely beautiful. The Wi-Fi signal, not great. Your food options, not great. They love cheese in a way that is, I will say, not healthy. They hand it to you when you get off the plane at the airport. Like they hand you cheese curds and go, "This is what we do here. Please come back." And that's bizarre to me. But it is absolute. The most gorgeous sunset I've ever seen in my life was last night over Lake Michigan. You look across the lake. There's no houses on the other side. It's like looking at the ocean. There's just water as far as the eye can see, and this beautiful pink purple sky. I mean, for me, it was the perfect way to lead into the draft because that's the setting of my happiness. And tomorrow, the raging phoenix of anger will rise as Armin Membu is the next member of the New York Jets.
You should write. Jeremy Greene should write for a living. Yeah, that's why by the way, no houses on the other side because it's a great lake, not a good lake. So,
it's a super great lake, and I want to. If Prince swam in that lake and became the greatest musician ever, I want to jump in it and just see if it can make me a better version of myself that can use English far better than I currently can, and I'm gonna do that.
There you go. Send me.
I want to the hospital for hypothermia.
I want to see the video of that. ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter, Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville. Thank you. I think we're going to talk again very soon.
I'm all the way in. I'm always a phone call away. My greatest ability is my availability.
There you go. Thanks, Jeremy. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, if they're giving out cheese curds, then I'm down.
All right. I am looking in front of me at the brackets for the soccer tournament, which is coming up at Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary like 6 weeks from now. They announced, 2 days ago, Pat McAfee would be his team that he brought last year. They are back, and they were the 48th team entered in the men's field. Jon Mugar, who is the man behind the soccer tournament, will join us next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The North Carolina Healthcare Association invites you to listen to this month's podcast, Conversations on the State of Healthcare. There's a major shortage of mental health professionals, especially in rural areas. In our latest episode, produced in partnership with the North Carolina Healthcare Association, Dr. Joseph Pino of Devant Health tells us about an exciting new program that's expanding mental health care in eastern North Carolina. He explains the need, especially among military families.
Military families
frequently face moves across the country, long deployments, and added stress that comes with military life. And those experiences can lead to anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other mental health conditions. The stigma around mental health often prevents people from seeking care.
Join our latest Conversations on the State of Healthcare wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and learn more by visiting nchealthcare.org.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your local grocer and pick up your favorite flavor today.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare Savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Are you looking for a 2-year hands-on agricultural degree while still gaining the university experience? I'm Lee Ivey, Director of the Agricultural Institute at NC State University. We offer 6 associate's degrees that span the agricultural industry and set our students up to meet their goals. Come live on campus, learn on our farms, and be a part of the NC State community. Learn more about our program online by searching NC State Ag Institute. Deadline for fall enrollment is June 1st. 2 years, 1 degree, endless possibilities.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
One Adam. Gold.
One Adam.
Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. So, but yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
He is the man behind the soccer tournament. It started with the basketball tournament. We realized, hey, soccer is just as good, if not better. It's coming back to Cary. We hope it will always be here. And, man, we're right around the corner. We are a little bit more than a month out, maybe, 5.5 weeks out from the start of it. And Jon Mugar is with us. I know, big announcement yesterday. We have the full field. We have 16 women's teams. Pat McAfee's team is back. CONCACAF F's, or I think it's SC, CONCACAF SC. Talk to me about the McAfee edition here. What did that mean? Because he played.
He did play. He had one of the most epic assists in TBT history.
I agree.
That we or TST history that we now see every single day on the opening montage of his show. It lives on in infamy. It will live on well beyond the event or my or your lifetime, no doubt. So his team actually really came in. They built themselves the right way, which is a lot of small-sided, very skilled players, a lot of arena indoor players. So they had a great run for a first-year team, and they're going to come back this year, and they really want to win.
We are going to talk about some of the teams who are back, who had great success. But I shouldn't say I recognize. I don't recognize. There's a lot of new teams, it seems.
There are. It's always a great thing to see. We usually turn over about 40% of the field in our events from year to year. So we're nice. It's great to have the 60% back because they know the drill, they know all the deadlines and the rules and how they work. But then we're educating another 40% and giving fans a fresh look at different people who are coming in and experiencing carry and TST for the first time.
You know, it's funny when I actually talked about this the other day, and I just mentioned a couple of things because there were teams that caught my eye because I spent, a good chunk of time out there for all of the group play, and you have 48 men's teams, and there are 16 women's teams now, both sides competing for the $1 million prize money. I loved watching the Reggae Rovers. I love Newtown Pride, which they won it 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, right?
They did. They won our first one.
And Nani FC, which had like a bunch of comebacks to advance as far as they did, got to the final. La Bombonera, I remember watching them the first day thinking, this team is awesome, and they ended up winning it. So there are for people who are out there, I think there are just a lot of fun soccer clubs to watch.
Yeah, and we step into it for a very short time frame for those 6 days when we actually have the festival and tournament going on. But TST is living year-round, make no mistake about it. So when Bombonera cruises for the field last year, those players are getting poached every day of the year by other teams that want to make a run in TST. So it's really hard. It's hard to win an event in our format, obviously, but it's especially hard to retain the players and keep them coming back because you have big teams coming in with dollars behind them who are trying. There's a whole free agent market behind TST that's really fascinating.
That almost sounds like the transfer portal in college basketball and college football.
It's completely like that. I know everyone's in the portal, no matter what you do nowadays.
Jon Mugar with the soccer tournament is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Talk to me about the expanded women's field.
Thanks to RBC Wealth Management, the sponsor of the women's bracket, we were able to expand from 8 to 16 teams. And we all saw last year Heather's team.
Yeah.
Heather entered the U.S. women team in the first year of the tournament. They played in a field that was almost entirely men.
Right.
That first year. So inspirational and competitive were they that we went out and did the equal pay $1 million winner-take-all women's tournament too. And they won that one. And so we're really excited to see them challenged by 15 teams this year, and I'm sure they all saw the style of play, and they're going to be coming hard for them.
You know, what's funny is that I think they beat North Carolina FC. I think was it NCFC in the final or the North Carolina?
Yes, North Carolina Courage. Yep.
Courage in the final, and of course Heather at one point played for the Courage, but I remember being out there for the first year and watching them play and watching the goalkeeper, who I thought was the best player maybe in the entire tournament, give up 15 goals, and she played great. They played Wrexham in one of those games, and Wrexham they were too good. And
yeah, they
the
were.
Keeper was amazing, but there was nothing she could do about it. Is the group of death Group E? I was looking at all the groups. So Group E has Reggae Rovers and Say Word FC, which is really good.
When we release our field in groups to teams, we get texts and messages from 48 out of 48 teams, 64 out of 64, saying they're in the group of death.
Right.
So everybody feels that they have the group of death. Like top to bottom, when you look into these teams, they're all phenomenal.
Yeah.
And there are new teams that are really hard to project, as you can imagine, but having seen Reggae Rovers last year, Bombonera, you know what to expect now. And that's really the fun of being a returning fan, is like Newtown Pride. They get booed constantly for their style of play. They won in the first year.
Yeah.
Reggae Rovers people loved. They have tons of energy. So these previously no-name brands now have something that fans can latch onto.
Yeah, Newtown Pride and La Bombonera would be the opposite. I'll put it in college basketball terms: Loyola Marymount and Virginia.
Yes.
I'll just put it in those terms. Newtown Pride was pretty slow and deliberate, but we all know it was successful for them. They did get booed a little bit. Year 3, what is there anything new planned for the festival?
Yeah, well, in addition to the expanded teams and the number of teams and the doubling of the women's prize, the women's pool from 8 to 16 teams, we're looking at added food, added atmosphere off the pitches. And that's really what we found that fans resonate to and are drawn to as much as the play. I think our model for this has always been U.S. Open tennis, and that idea that you can go to a main stadium primary feature game, but also go to side fields. And so we stagger game times very frequently because of that, so you can watch the end of a game here and then walk over and get to the end of the game here, get great food in and along the way. So we're really just adding to the whole festival atmosphere as much as we can.
It's a blast. I keep telling people it's the most fun you could have. I'd plan for a week off and enjoy it because it is a blast. Even if you are just a casual soccer fan, the speed of the game and the way it with the Elam ending, if you will, where we have a target score. I mean, it is incredible. And McAfee is going to be doing a show out there, and I know a bunch of like the ESPN is covering the event. We're going to have Hercules Gomez and Sebastian Salazar out there. It should be a blast. Jon Mugar, the soccer tournament. Best of luck to this. Please, let's talk again, and I look forward to helping out as I can.
Thank you, Adam. We'll see you on site again. Really appreciate it.
You got it. Take care, John. It is so much fun. So you don't even have to be a huge soccer fan to get into it because the game is fast. If you don't like watching big, like regulation-sized soccer, there's not enough scoring, or the game's too slow, which I understand. Totally different. Totally different. It is a blast. Anyway, so I'll be roaming around there. I don't think I'm going out there in any official capacity, but I will be out there roaming. It's too much fun not to. All right, so before we get into a rewind, real quick. So I saw this yesterday, and I have some, I'm disappointed in two different ways. So TNT, I didn't realize this because I don't believe I watched Game 1 of St. Louis at Winnipeg. They did not send announcers to that game. They did the game. It was the first game, right? St. Louis at Winnipeg was the first playoff game that we saw in this playoff cycle. Dallas, Colorado was Game 2. They did that game remotely. The broadcasters were in Atlanta in the TNT studios. I didn't realize that. Again, I didn't watch it, so how would I know? But there are several more games scheduled that will not have broadcasters. Los Angeles at Edmonton, games 3 and 4. The announcers will not be on site. They will be in the studios in Atlanta. There's another one. It might be the next game in Winnipeg. They've already played 2 in Winnipeg. They're not going game Toronto at Ottawa, game 4 will not have on-site broadcasters. And there may be others. So this is making fans mad, which I totally get. It's disrespecting the sport. It is disrespecting the fans of the sport. All of that. I get all of the criticism of it. But here's the second part that I criticize, because the Turner released a statement basically saying it's too expensive to do it. There isn't a single one of your customers, Turner, not one, that goes, oh, okay, I understand. That's fine. No! Your customers are fans who love the game. By the way, TV ratings have dropped significantly from last year. It has nothing to do with this, but TV ratings have dropped. Might have something to do with the fact that, work with me here, no Rangers and no Boston in the East, replaced by Ottawa and Montreal. So in the United States, a lot less people give a damn about Ottawa and Montreal than care about the Rangers and Boston. Just saying. Back to the my second criticism. Since none of your customers, not a single one, is going to go, oh, okay, now that you pointed that out, I understand. Don't say anything. There is nothing that you can say as a broadcaster, TNT, that will make the situation better for you. You are best served by saying nothing. Here is the reality, I think, for a lot of people who watch. They won't know. They won't know that. Like, you have to be really dialed in to know the difference. They won't know. I will say that there was a time not that long ago when NBC first took over that if they were showing games that the RSN that had the rights to a game was an NBC affiliate, they just brought that. They just used the local broadcast and sent it out nationally. They did that routinely when they were NBC Sportsnet. Heck, we saw a lot of games in Philly. We saw a lot of games in Washington using the local broadcasters. They did that for Canadian broadcasts early on in the process. And, maybe people complain, but all you really want to watch is the game. And if you can watch the game, who cares about the rest? Again, it's terrible that you would invest so much money in getting the package, but then not invest the money in producing the game as it should be produced. But you are not going to convince fans that, oh, okay, it's okay. I understand your point of view. No, that ain't it. So you're just better served by not addressing it at all. Just airing the games, doing the best you can, and hope that nobody really gets so mad at it that it causes you other problems. All right. Tomorrow on the program, we will get you ready for Game 3. Greg Wyshynski of ESPN will be among the guests. We will also recap what the Panthers did right. Hopefully they did everything right and nothing wrong. Victoria, thank you. Good night.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
You've been to all those fancy driving range experiences, but you need closer to the real thing. Adam Gold here. What you need is X Golf in Cary. High-end simulator play. Food, drinks, fun, maybe even a date night, even serious competition. Buddy of mine plays in a league there, and he loves it. Memberships are available, all levels of player, all ages. North Carolina's premier indoor golf experience, and there is a PGA professional on site. Online, playxgolf.com/Cary. Playxgolf.com/Cary.
It's the final days of Diamonds Direct's annual spring sale. This is your last chance to get an extra 20% off our already renowned prices. Plus, book an appointment and